This afternoon, Scott Besson at 1 p.m. And of course, what's going to happen with those Canadian tariffs? We still don't really have an answer.
Those Canadians.
Perhaps we will tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining us here on First Edition.
We appreciate it. News Now is up next.
The Dove TV, encouraging, informative, and your home for Wretched TV weeknights at 9 p.m.
Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
There will only be one winner of the Freedom 250, and how fitting that it's Kyle Kirkwood as the Secretary of Transportation waves the checkered flag. Kyle Kirkwood wins an American on the top step of the podium at the Freedom 250.
Well, there you go. Kyle Kirkwood is now the winner of the, what they call the Freedom 250 Grand Prix in Washington, D.C. One of the first over the weekend through the streets.
It was outstanding. I watched it.
It was really, really good. And the president took a lap in the Beast.
He did, yeah.
Which is...
he didn't go as fast as the other guys were going.
It
but
barely gets up to 40, doesn't it?
Well, it was something. Now, I got home from church and it was still going, so I was able to see it. And now the Indy cars, they can get up to 240 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And they're driving through the Washington, D.C. city streets. So I thought, well, they're not going to get that fast. And you know how they have those shots where they show the miles per hour going on? They had one straight that they were hitting 170 on in town.
Through town.
Yeah, through a school zone.
Well, you start looking at what they did to prepare for that race and all the barriers they had to put up and everything in the fence. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
So we'll have more on that coming up in just a few moments. But Kyle Kirkwood, good morning. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. This is Jerry's Hangout.
Yes, it is.
I'm here to make sure he hangs.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way, Jerry, you thought you could pull this off and not anybody know, but we had a camera on the scene. When Jerry got home, and he watched the Freedom 250 Grand Prix. Yeah. And so what did he decide to do?
Well, look at this.
He did barrel racing in his zero turn.
Oh, hey, I want to do this.
Look at this.
Are you kidding me?
That's you, man.
Oh, I want to.
There you go. And he comes back for the win. Ta-da!
Where did you find this?
Isn't that something?
Oh, that's great. Oh,
that's Jerry on his zero turn with the halo on his right leg and all. There you go.
It's like barrel racing with a zero turn.
There you go. Actually, that's a loser because he should be hugging that barrel in the zero turn.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't know that was an event. I'm gonna enroll.
There you go.
My goodness.
All right, happy Monday to you. A lot going on in the news. There always is. The weather, well, warming up, warming down.
Yeah.
The only reprieve we have in all of this is the days are getting shorter and it cools off quicker.
Yeah, and we're getting some nice cool nights.
Nice evenings.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning to you. Anything special today?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's National Self First Day. An annual observance serves as a reminder that prioritizing your physical, mental, and emotional health is not a luxury or a source of guilt. It's a necessity. And you know what? There's a good way to put it all in perspective. If you can, if you're able, go serve someone.
Yeah.
It helps all of these things.
I tell you what, if you're down, and you're even if I want to say this respectfully because I understand depression's real.
Yeah.
And that feeling of hopelessness and anxiety is real. But one of the great ways to break it is to go serve somebody else.
Yes.
Go give of yourself to somebody else. Now, don't get me wrong. You should spend time in the Word, should spend time with the Lord. But there's nothing like just getting out of it, get out of your zone, break away from this thing, go find somebody, take them to lunch, buy them a coffee, go mow their lawn, do something.
Yes.
Do something.
It really, that's the absolute truth. It's also National Maryland Day.
Maryland.
Yeah, the coastal location brings with it a deeply rooted maritime heritage that includes an ocean battle defending the city of Baltimore at Fort McHenry during the War of 1812. And one witness to the action was so inspired that he penned the words that later became our national anthem, Francis Scott Key.
There we go.
Yeah, so National Maryland Day. It's also a couple things to eat. We're going to eat waffles today.
Oh.
National Waffle Day, commemorating the anniversary of the first waffle iron patent issued. Now, waffles had existed, but there was no official waffle iron, and we can celebrate by, you know, having our favorite waffle. You know, that's the big thing now in a lot of these, lot of hotels and motels that have, you know, breakfast available, is the waffle maker.
Yeah.
And it's pretty popular.
It makes one and it turns around. Flips back and forth.
And it's good. You know, it's about the only time in the year that I eat a waffle. It's like, okay, it's available. I'll eat it.
I like them.
I like waffles too, but I can't eat them every day. It's a little too much.
Right.
And then you can top it off with peach pie. What could be wrong with this?
I have to tell you, the peach crop this year in Southern Oregon is some of the sweetest.
All right.
Peggy's gone to the orchard twice. I went with her once, and she got these. They're just huge like that.
All right.
And they're just full of sugar.
Oh.
And she made kind of like a, and I'm saying it wrong, I know I am, but it's like a tort, peach tort.
Oh, okay.
And then put a little scoop of ice cream on that.
Well, I was going to say a la mode on a peach pie. What could be wrong with that?
Oh man, it is so sweet. And you got to get them because they're almost out of season.
Yeah, but they're still rolling because, and when we think of peaches, you know, Georgia comes to mind. You know, it's the peach state.
Yeah.
But California actually leads the nation in production in the United States, and there are 20 states producing peaches commercially besides California and Georgia. Other top producers are South Carolina, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Washington. They grow a lot of peaches, and you know, we even have some in Oregon.
Yep.
How about that?
Good stuff.
It's all good.
All right. Well, speaking of peaches, he does the weathers here. Here he is.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Patchy smoke across northern Oregon and southern Washington, with Vancouver reaching 89, Portland 90, Wilsonville 92, and McMinnville near 90. Continuing warm through the Willamette Valley with patchy smoke and a high of 90 in Salem. Albany turns sunny and reaches 89, while Corvallis and Eugene see mostly sunny skies, also with highs near 89. Central Oregon turns hot with areas of smoke in Prineville and a high of 95. Bend reaches 91 with patchy smoke, while Sun River hits 90, also with patchy smoke, then cloudy skies. Boise stays hot with a high of 102. Along the Oregon coast, morning fog gives way to mostly sunny skies in Coos Bay with a high of 74. Port Orford reaches 70 under mostly sunny skies, while Brookings starts with patchy fog before turning partly sunny in 55. Crescent City sees decreasing clouds with a high of 63. Across southern Oregon, hot conditions push Grants Pass and Medford to 100. Ashland is mostly sunny and reaches 95, while over in the Klamath Basin, sunny skies and an afternoon high of 89. In Northern California, sunny skies bring a high of 95 to Wairega. Heat continues in Redding near 97 and Chico 96, while Fort Bragg sees patchy dense fog with a high of 61. In the Bay Area, clouds give way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs near 80. San Francisco sees decreasing clouds and a high of 68, while San Jose reaches 84 under clearing skies. For Central California, mostly sunny skies bring Sacramento near 93. Fresno Visalia climb to 102, and in Bakersfield, hot with a high of 104. And that's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, there's a new picture this morning. That's from Treasure Island looking into the city. That's the Bay Bridge going into the city from Treasure Island.
It is beautiful.
Isn't that pretty?
Oh my goodness.
So that's a live shot. If you look real close, you'll see some cars on the upper deck and the lower deck.
That's a
upper deck
postcard.
going west, lower deck going east.
Yeah.
And that's from Treasure Island looking into the city. Isn't that pretty shot?
Amazing.
Yeah, so got some good stuff going on there today. I don't know, do we have the other one for...
Yeah, what do you got?
I don't know if he's got it. We had one. Oh, there it is. That's from Antelope to Mount Shasta way out there.
A little hazy, huh?
A little overcast there. A little bit of some high marine air. But that's from Mount Antelope looking right at Mount Shasta in the Wairega area. So some good shots this morning.
All right. Well, time for some encouragement this morning with Johnny Erickson Tata as we look forward to a day in the future that's getting closer.
It's interesting, isn't it, how we make heaven all about us, seeing our loved ones being freed from our suffering, receiving our eternal reward. But when it comes to heaven, it won't be your day or my day, like the day of Johnny. No, no, no. We won't be in heaven to simply get back everything we've lost and then some. Rather, It'll be the day of Christ, his day, his coronation. And you and me, well, we will be his bride, his gift, enriching his inheritance, worshiping his glory, and making him famous all throughout the universe. And the fun part, he's going to share the joy of his day, his victory and his triumph. He's going to share it with us. Oh, what a glorious day that'll be. So for now, here on earth, friend, obey him, delight in him, get to know him, because it'll make heaven more glorious for Jesus and more joyful for you.
Johnny.
I love Johnny.
She puts everything into perspective. All right, 10 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at some of the top stories. It's kind of interesting out there today.
Oh, yeah.
So, I guess we're in a trade war with Canada now.
I guess. And what happened? I thought this ability to levy tariffs.
Well, do we really need this?
I don't know.
I don't understand this.
Yeah.
You know what's the problem with this?
What?
Probably shouldn't say.
Come on. It's early. It's Monday.
Just the way I'm looking at it.
All right.
These are two guys, two big egos that can't get along. And in the meantime, their people on both sides suffer.
Yes. Good point. Good.
The people of Canada are going to suffer unnecessarily, and the people in the United States are going to suffer unnecessarily because two guys are just have egos bigger than Texas. And so, in the meantime, the president administration said on Sunday to Canada, it'd be foolish for you to think that you could beat us in a trade war. Well, Prime Minister Mark Carney responds, and here's what he had to say.
For over a year, Canada has worked intensively and in good faith with the United States to negotiate a new comprehensive trade deal. We've been pragmatic, patient, and persistent. We pursued every opportunity to reach an agreement that protects Canadian workers and their families, that strengthens our economy, and that respects Canadian sovereignty. We've been under no illusions. We recognized from the start that America has changed. Early last year in this room, I observed that the decades-long process of steadily increasing integration between our economies was over. Our government understood before many that America would transform all of its commercial relationships, that it would put a series of tariffs on its closest allies and use economic integration as a weapon. We recognize that sometimes its signature was written in pencil.
Okay, so he's ticked off, and he should be, I guess. But at the same time, he really doesn't have much to stand on.
No, and he likes to cozy up to the Chinese.
He's a globalist.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if Canadians are really under the gun, this guy is, he's a socialist, a globalist.
Yep.
And so you come along, and I don't know what the Canadians are going to do with him, but they did elect him.
Well,
in a squeezed way, because it'll be interesting to see if he survives the next election, because he's very, very, very unpopular.
Yeah, and you're right. We don't want this to happen, but he's right also. Things have changed in America. There's a new sheriff in Dodge.
Yeah.
It's not Biden anymore.
Well, yeah, it's like get everything you want and we'll pay for it. And those days are over. So, well, in the meantime, Senator Tim Scott, the other senator from South Carolina, has endorsed Senator Darlene Graham, who took Lindsey Graham. He's the sister of Lindsey Graham, and he has wholeheartedly endorsed her. Tomorrow is going to be the runoff between the two people that will be running for that seat, and she's one of them, and Representative Ralph Norman is the other. They were the two that got the highest number of votes during the primary that they had. They had this special primary. So the runoff is tomorrow. We'll see. But in the meantime, Senator Scott, quite a guy. He came alongside. She's more than qualified, and here's what he had to say.
I said earlier this year, 2026 is a year of affordability. And President Trump nailed it when he said that Darlene Graham understands the issues facing Americans today and South Carolinians today, the issues of affordability. She goes to the grocery store. She understands the prices of eggs and meat and some of the challenges facing the American people. She focuses on helping people with disabilities for the last 30 years as her career. She is ready to take on the issues that everyday Americans are facing. And Kristen, one other thing that's really important. I watched her on the campaign trail. I watched her go through 2 funerals for her brother, and then I watched her carefully for 30 days in the Senate, casting deciding votes for the AG, working on getting her first bill passed, the Russia sanctions bill. What did I assess? Highly qualified, incredibly competent, ready for prime time. She's ready to tackle the issues of affordability for the American people, and she's ready to serve the great state of South Carolina in the United States Senate.
Well, that endorsement could be the winning thing.
Okay, yeah.
But there is a little bit of a push here. Apparently, the other candidate, Representative Norman, apparently is coming with strong recommendations from the pro-life community.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to be interesting. It could be very emotional.
Have you looked at the numbers? Do they indicate one way or the other?
I haven't seen any polling other than the actual special primary where they were like 5 points between each other.
Okay.
So she does go in with a little bit of a lead. The question is that an emotional lead or is it a practical lead? And we'll have to wait and see. Tomorrow will be the other thing.
Right.
Well, one of your favorite subjects, the WOW NBA.
You got it.
The
yes.
WOW NBA.
Yes.
I guess protest over the WNBA refusing to take a stand on women's sports continues.
Yeah.
This is really, they have got themselves into a real mess.
Well, yeah, this starts off because they don't know what a woman is. That's the first problem.
Yeah, so I don't know what the W stands for. We've now called it for WOW. But most of their money comes from the NBA. And as you know, some of the NBA guys have said, hey, we're now eligible for the draft. And it's Freedom is one of them. And apparently, he says the league takes on the trans athlete issue in a roundabout. I wonder where this is going to end up. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, no, I don't know. But did you see what happened last night? He was at a ball game between Chicago and Indiana.
Yeah.
And he showed up. He knows what a woman is because he shows up with the T-shirt. It says "woman," noun, adult, human, female. And so he's sitting at courtside.
Yeah.
And Sophie Cunningham drills a three-pointer, and he gets up, yay! And one of the opposing players gets in his face, starts walking to him, and starts cussing him out.
Yeah. Well.
And they ended up. Well, you going to show this?
Well, here's what he had to say.
Cool. He got kicked out.
Yeah.
I feel like God gave me this huge platform, and I'm trying to use this platform to be the voice of all those innocent people out there who don't have a voice. I mean, that was my goal. So this is literally God's work. I only fear God and God only. Everyone bleed like me. So I know this is God's work, and I'm not going to give up. And I have no regrets, because whenever I sit down with all these families, I just had a basketball camp in New York, and I remember all the families were coming up to me and saying, thank you. We would like to thank you for what you're doing for our daughter.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, I have a real problem with how they handled it. The security, again, WNBA is having some real issues security-wise courtside, and how they handled it was a player goes after him. He didn't say a word to her. He didn't antagonize her. He cheered a three-point shot by Sophie Cunningham. This opposing player gets in his face, and I'm not going to tell you the things she said to him, and he responded back to her, and eventually he gets kicked out. Well, in the NBA, they really have some guidelines about players going after fans. Obviously, it's a little bit different in the WOW NBA because he was the one that got ushered out of the building, and he didn't make a scene. He said, I understand security has a tough job, both NBA, WNBA. I'm not going to get in their face. And so he left peacefully, but they got it wrong again.
All right, so several things come out of this.
Okay.
Was it the stadium security or the WNBA security?
And that's, again, a big question. I don't know which it was.
So we don't know which security did it. Secondly is that I think what you have here is the management of the WNBA needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
And coaches are not doing their job by having control over their members, or their team members, from getting in the face of a fan. A coach should have stood up right there and got between them. And didn't do it. So you got the whole league is literally upside down right now. And I don't know what's going to happen to this, but they're making the point, and that is, here are some champion ball players, male. Why don't you draft us? And if they don't,
oh boy,
they even worsen the situation.
Oh boy, yeah.
You know, the XXXY T-shirts.
Oh, sure.
They're selling like hotcakes.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yes.
so,
yes.
I don't know. All right, back to Kyle Kirkwood. He's the guy that won the Freedom 250 Grand Prix in Washington, D.C. Quite the race through the nation's capital, another Trump event.
Yeah, he sat there through the whole thing.
Well, he did, and he's the one that arranged for this whole thing. He made it happen. I mean, you'll never see this again.
Right, this is a one-off.
This is a one-off.
Yep.
There was a wreck. Nobody got hurt.
Yeah, it was actually, there was a lot of racing going on in the tight city streets and stuff. Yeah. There were a few incidents.
Yeah, there were. But these guys got around each other. They did okay.
Yep.
Anyway, here's what Kyle had to say at the end of the big 250. Okay, do I have it? There you are. He's going through. Oh, I hear audio, but I don't. I thought we had some of him. Okay, we don't. Okay.
There's the beast. There's the
president coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, when Kirkwood won the event, he pointed to the president and he said, "Yeah, I'd like to see another fellow Floridian out here. I'm from Florida."
Yeah.
He said he appreciated him out there. Yeah, it was cool.
Well, you know what's kind of interesting about this whole thing is, did you see before they had the race over the weekend that the Grand Prix presented Melania with her own helmet?
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, really?
So they presented her with this helmet.
Cool.
It had Melania across the top of it and all this. It's beautiful.
All right. Well, you know, it's interesting, too, because he mentioned how tired he was after the race. Now, there were two races yesterday. There was the Dutch Grand Prix for the F1 racers. Right. So I started getting into the difference between the cars.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, you would. And they are. Besides 100 miles an hour.
We don't have that much time.
Okay.
Anyway, but because the Indy cars are designed to go on different tracks, especially oval tracks, you know, they're going to go 240 miles an hour. So they have some differences in the cars. But one of the things, and this was a city course, so there's a lot of maneuvering, a lot of turns. But one of the big differences, and one of the reasons he was so tired, F1 cars have power steering. These Indy cars don't.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was tuckered out. I bet all of them were.
Wow.
That's a lot of racing.
All right. Well, there you go. You heard it here on the Dove. All right. Good morning. All right. So stick to your barrel racing with your zero turn.
Thank you. I can do that.
All right. We'll be right back.
All right.
Oh, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name.
Monday, the daughter of a Satanist.
He was into witchcraft, worshiping the devil, doing rituals.
And she couldn't escape.
I was just terrified, but I couldn't tell anybody.
Haunted by evil.
I would see shadows walking through my room. I would hear scratching on my doors, my walls.
And how she silenced the spirits.
It was almost like they were lining up one by one, and then I would feel that release.
Watch the 700 Club Monday morning at 11 on the Dove TV. In a time when our culture faces unprecedented challenges,
I want to talk about the role of a Christian, even in a hostile culture.
Christian apologist and evangelist Alex McFarland addresses the hard-hitting questions about faith, morality, and culture.
People are hungry for truth, and we've got to rise to the challenge of our assignment as the church.
Know your faith better to be equipped to defend it in a world searching for answers.
But when you put the face of an earthly man on God, then you're never going to understand who God is.
God takes pleasure in you, and the very sight of you is joy and blessing.
Alex McFarland, inspiring believers through apologetics to boldly stand for truth in a critical time. Catch him Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us.
Okay, welcome back. Happy Monday to you. Back at it, 24 minutes past the hour. Just a little bit of a update on the fires. Oregon seems to be getting control under most of the big fires up there. There is one little one out. I shouldn't say little. 5,000 acres is not a little fire. This is the Austin fire. It's only 7% contained, but the big one out by Wright Springs fire out by Klamath Falls, 54,000 acres, 55% contained. The Roe Creek fire, the Grasshopper fire, most of those now they're getting a handle on. But the big one that broke out over the weekend just north of Reno, 13,000 acres, and it is coming to town. It's threatening 1,000 homes. Structures have already been lost. They said it is human caused, but they didn't tell us what that means.
Yeah.
But this is a big deal. This is right north of Reno, and a friend of ours that has a television station on a tower there, they lost it. It got burned down.
Really?
Yeah, I just got email on that this morning. So there's a lot of assets on that fire, from helicopters to airplanes. Now this is brush country. And the problem with this fire, as you can see just by those flames, the wind. And boy, the wind can howl out there. And so some of the freeways and the highways are closed down, but this is just north of Reno, and it's threatening roughly 1,000 homes. 42,000 residents now roughly are going to be evacuated or have been. So this came on them fast. And it was driven by the winds, and it's not only moving fast, but it gets widened by the wind fast. And so that's the big one. It's called the Hawk Fire. We'll keep an eye on it. That's out in the Nevada territory out there this morning. All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on with the weather on us. We are going to have some continued high pressure, and it's going to push the temperatures up again a little bit into the 90s for our backyard. Other places gets pretty hot down through the Central Valley. And as you can see there is some moisture in there in the Central Valley. You could see some afternoon buildups, hopefully no thunderstorms or lightning. But that's kind of the pattern until we get to Wednesday on down. It cools back a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
the last 2 weeks of summer.
Yes.
This is it.
Yeah, and we're looking for that early September storm that you've been predicting.
Well, somebody said we're going to have one. I said it's around the 1st September. Now, here's the deal about El Nino. Conflicting reports. Okay.
What?
I don't know who to believe. So let me back up. I shouldn't say that. Let's give this some time. The El Nino, which is coming off the equator with warm weather and is warming the ocean temperatures, moving towards Hawaii, kind of comes up that way. It has a lot to do with how warm that water gets from Hawaii to our shores. Okay? It could go one of two ways. It can go to where it develops a lot of rain and snow, or it can go to where it just does rain and no snow. Okay, because it's warm.
Too warm. That Pineapple Express.
That Pineapple Express, okay? And it has a lot to do with the temperatures as this El Nino has developed. Most people have already said the El Nino has developed. It is a major El Nino coming off the equator, moving this way. The actual climate changes and meteorological changes and all that stuff that will occur from Hawaii to here over the next several months will be the key. So we could see a drought, or we could see excess in weather.
So again, we just don't know. It's the weather.
We don't know. I've read 2 reports that feel like it will produce a lot of weather. Then there's another report out there that said, no, it has the real possibility of being another dry one.
Wow.
So what do you do with that?
Nothing. You just go, okay.
And for the climate people saying, well, this is global warming. No, this is El Nino. It cycles through. And so anyway, you know, we saw what happened in Hawaii just a few weeks ago. Huge storm. Really damaged the big island in a big way. So that's kind of what's going on out there.
All right. Well, talking about a big way, $40 trillion in national debt. It's a hard number to get our brain around. It's a lot of zeros. Are we getting immune to this?
Well, I think what it is, how can I say this? It's kind of like, I would say this number is so bad that it fits with all the anxiety in the culture, and we just look the other way. We hope it's not really. We think that somebody else is going to take care of it.
Right. Right.
We are not dealing with it. We're not being serious about it, and it's so bad. I don't even want to think about it because it's so bad. I hope somebody else will take care of it.
Well, somebody else is looking at it. Here on Fox Business Bottom Line, Heritage Foundation Economic Chief E.J. Antony addressed the debt and the Treasury's attempt to drive down long-term interest rates and reduce this debt. Let's listen in.
Well, Dagan, I don't know if we would say it's that dire, but I think people are really blowing it out of proportion, frankly, when people get hyperbolic about it and start talking about yield curve control. Look, the Treasury is just swapping some on-the-run and off-the-run Treasuries. That's all they're doing. And in this case, the difference between them is not only that they're on and off the run, but also the fact that you're dealing with short and long-term debt. So you're swapping out, again, short and long. So you're swapping out the duration, not just whether or not it's newly issued debt or old debt. Okay, all that being said, it's a few $billion dollars. As you just pointed out, we're $40 trillion in debt. I understand not all of that is traded every day. There's plenty that's held at the Fed. There's plenty that's held in intergovernment holdings. Again, it's not all being traded every single day. But still, $2 to $4 billion is not a significant part of what is getting traded. The impact here is just nowhere near as big as I think people are making it out to be. Now, all that being said, people talk about the debt and they say, well, what do I care, right? Why should I be affected? I didn't care when it was 35 trillion. Why should I care when it was 40 trillion? Did you notice the inflation we've had for the last 6 years? That was created by the government spending, borrowing, but also printing too much money. That's what gave us 40-year high inflation. And are you wondering why your credit card interest rate, your mortgage interest rate, interest rates on everything, business loans, student loans, you name it, those are all high because private borrowers are having to compete with the government who is borrowing a couple $1 trillion a year. So interest rates are going to stay high as long as the borrowing does too.
Well, that's a nice way of saying he's trying to cool the fire down, but it's still a fire. And look, until we force the federal government to have a balanced budget, we're going to manage ourselves into a hole. And Oregon's got a lot of problems, but at least we have a balanced budget. It's always manipulated with taxes at the end of the term and all that. I get all those games that are played. But until we force the United States to have a balanced budget and quit these continuing resolutions where you just kick the can down the road, you got to get serious and balance the budget. You know what that means? Which the federal government is allergic to. It means you have to cut budgets.
Yeah, right.
Everybody else does it but the feds.
Yeah.
And so until we get serious about it.
And you would think such an effort would be a bipartisan effort, but it certainly gets quite partisan depending on who wants to do it.
Well, it's grandma going over the cliff in a wheelchair. That's the way it is. So, all right, those are some of the things happening out there. But today is what? What do we have today?
Well, we got a couple things. We got waffles, and then we're going to top it off with peach pie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we had after church yesterday. Pancakes, which is the cousin to a waffle.
Yeah, it is. Right. It's similar batter. Yeah.
With peaches on top.
Oh.
Fresh cut peaches.
And you brought some for everybody, right?
I did not.
On this special day.
I love you guys, but not that much.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us. and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
The Dove is making it easier to take our trusted, faithful content with you wherever you go with the new Dove.us website and our new Dove mobile app. It's a fresh new way to watch, listen, read, and connect with the Dove 24/7. It's an improved experience for you, designed with easy navigation to help you quickly find what you need. Visit the new Dove.us today and download the radio and TV app for Apple and Android devices. An easier way to experience the Dove.
There may have never been another time in history when end times prophecy has been more aligned with the culture and circumstances of the world than it is today. I believe there are 10 phenomena we are witnessing today that were recorded centuries ago in Bible prophecy.
Join Dr. David Jeremiah in his series, Where Do We Go From Here? On the next episode of Turning Point, right here on this station.
Weekends on the Dove TV.
Good morning. Welcome to Jerry's Racetrack.
Yeah, zero turn.
Zero turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't believe me? You don't believe me? Scott, do you have it? Do you have the zero turn?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, this is a good
This was
one.
Jerry over the weekend. Do you have that, Scott?
I wish this was me. Check it out. Yeah. Listen to it.
Now, I have to tell you, this has some real...
Oh, that's funny.
This has some real legs to it. Oh. This has got to be a new rodeo event.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a guy racing a zero turn, doing like a barrel racing.
Yeah, what brand is he on?
I don't know, but he's modified the muffler.
Well, it sounds hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a bunch of them out there. You know, all the major guys make them
now. Yes.
So you could have this could turn into its own rodeo.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
The only thing missing, the guy should have been wearing a helmet.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Come on. Got to have a helmet.
Yeah,
you probably should have had the roll bar up.
Hey, speaking of which, did you see Mum Dami? He was riding down the city streets last week in New York on a bike in his suit and tie, pedaling as fast as he could with no helmet. People went berserk. Good. I mean, it was funny. It had a Mum Dummy moment.
A Mum Dummy moment. All right.
Anyway.
All right, a lot going on in the Middle East. Let's check in with CBN News this morning and get caught up.
President Trump says negotiations with Iran are off the table as his administration launches what he calls the most crushing economic operation ever imposed on a country. On Truth Social, the president said no one has given the Islamic Republic of Iran a greater opportunity to make a deal, and that Tehran failed to take it. Now, Trump is calling for economic warfare and isolation on an unprecedented scale, warning that any country doing business with Iran will face tremendous economic consequences. The president also says Iran will never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon.
Look, it's very simple. They have to get rid of no nuclear weapons. Iran cannot have a nuclear. You know why? Because they'd use it.
Trump reportedly ordered American negotiators to halt talks with Tehran indefinitely, despite members of his negotiating team recently describing discussions with Iran as positive and robust. Meanwhile, the president says the United States has control of the Strait of Hormuz, and significant amounts of oil are again moving out of the Gulf.
The Strait, last night we had a lot of boats come through. We have possession, complete control of the Strait. It's not going to be perfect, but it's a lot of oil coming in.
Axios reports the U.S. military has established a shipping corridor through the Strait of Hormuz, moving about 10 million barrels of oil each day, with 15 to 20 tankers reportedly passing through nightly along the coast of Oman. In Israel, attention is turning north. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel struck Syria's Abu Duhur military air base after warnings against a Turkish military buildup there went unheeded.
We will not tolerate a Turkish military entrenchment that advances southward because it threatens us.
Netanyahu says Turkey intends to gain a foothold in Syria near Israel's border. When warnings to Syria and Turkey went unheeded, he authorized a military strike and delivered another, much simpler warning.
Don't.
IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Ayal Zamir reinforced Israel's red line while touring the Syrian front, saying Israel would not allow hostile forces to establish themselves on our borders. We see what is happening and we are monitoring the changes on the Syrian front, he added, saying Israel must prevent any significant military threat from forming along its borders. Joshua Swanson, CBN News, Jerusalem.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the U.S. will have a clear message for other countries in the economic pressure on Iran.
This is going to be the greatest coordinated economic isolation in the history of the world. And we are going to them and saying, you are either with us or against us. You want this murderous regime to end.
Bessent says the plan will require U.S. allies and others to stop all economic activity with the Iranian regime or face the consequences.
If you insist on doing business with them, either transferring money, buying their oil, they're doing seaborne ship transfers, then the U.S. Treasury and the U.S. government, they will put its full might and force toward enforcing against you. So it is time for our allies and the rest of the world to make a decision, and we are going to squash the economy of this murderous regime.
Iran's foreign minister denounced the U.S. economic threats and said those failed policies will stir more hostility among Iranians. Other reports say Iran's leaders have begun implementing measures like rationing in order to survive this economic onslaught, and bet that high oil prices will force the White House to stop. Bessent says the president still has the military option, but believes this economic warfare will work in Iran like it worked in Venezuela and now in Cuba.
Ultimately, I do believe the greatest long-term challenges may not come fast or from Washington or Israel. It may come from the widening of the political and economic divide between the Iranian government and the Iranian people.
Iranian-born Middle East expert Amir Hamidi tells CBN News economic and living conditions inside Iran are abysmal.
Because it's no security, executions are continuing, imprisonment continues, and the arrests are continuous, and prices are rising unbelievably. They have a problem to get the purchase price of power of the purchasing of their foods and medicine, and they are just waiting. They are waiting to, like a tsunami, I call the people of Iran, it's like a tsunami. It is going to explode.
Hamidi believes the protests will resume.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is just, it's a peace before earthquake. People are waiting because they don't have anything to lose. They don't have employment, they don't have future, they don't have investments. They are thinking about their next meal, and they have no freedom. And because of that, I think it's ready to explode.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, I can't imagine it's hard to wrap your head around it.
Mm-hmm.
You expect the Iranian people to rise up again.
Mm-hmm.
And what do they have this time to defend themselves with? I've heard arms are getting to them through various means, but how much and what is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let's take a look at the weather on this Monday morning as we start working again.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Patchy smoke across northern Oregon and southern Washington, with Vancouver reaching 89, Portland 90, Wilsonville 92, and McMinnville near 90. Continuing warm through the Willamette Valley with patchy smoke and a high of 90 in Salem. Albany turns sunny and reaches 89, while Corvallis and Eugene see mostly sunny skies, also with highs near 89. Central Oregon turns hot with areas of smoke in Prineville and a high of 95. Bend reaches 91 with patchy smoke, while Sun River hits 90, also with patchy smoke, then cloudy skies. Boise stays hot with a high of 102. Along the Oregon coast, morning fog gives way to mostly sunny skies in Coos Bay with a high of 74. Port Orford reaches 70 under mostly sunny skies, while Berking starts with patchy fog before turning partly sunny in 55. Crescent City sees decreasing clouds with a high of 63. Across southern Oregon, hot conditions push Grants Pass and Medford to 100. Ashland is mostly sunny and reaches 95, while over in the Klamath Basin, sunny skies and an afternoon high of 89. In Northern California, sunny skies bring a high of 95 to Wairega. Heat continues in Redding near 97 and Chico 96, while Fort Bragg sees patchy dense fog with a high of 61. In the Bay Area, clouds give way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs near 80. San Francisco sees decreasing clouds and a high of 68, while San Jose reaches 84 under clearing skies. For Central California, mostly sunny skies bring Sacramento near 93. Fresno Visalia climbed to 102, and in Bakersfield, hot with a high of 104. And that's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Oh yeah, we're looking back at a shocking event that happened on this day in baseball history. On August 24th, 1919, Cleveland Indians pitcher Ray Caldwell was about to finish a 2-1 victory over the Philadelphia Athletics when baseball history took a shocking turn, literally. With 2 outs in the 9th inning, lightning struck. Caldwell was knocked unconscious and lay motionless on the pitcher's mound for about 5 minutes. Many thought he was dead and, in fact, were afraid to touch him for fear of electrocution. Caldwell ended up with a burn on his chest, but it wasn't just Caldwell who felt it. The catcher's mask and cap were knocked off, the third base coach lost his hat, and several players reported feeling an electric shock. Then Caldwell got back on his feet. He insisted on facing the final batter and promptly got the out to complete the victory. And amazingly, just over 2 weeks later, Caldwell pitched a no-hitter against his former team, the New York Yankees. Talk about getting struck by lightning and then catching fire. Ray Caldwell.
Wow.
Struck by lightning, knocked unconscious, gets up, finishes the game.
He glowed the rest of his life.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah, cool stuff.
All right, good stuff all the way around. Well, a YouTuber, Nate Friedman, he went to work kind of like the other guy that snuck around and was getting, they passed a law against him in California for reporting things.
Oh, Nick Shirley?
Shirley.
Nick Shirley.
This is kind of another Nick Shirley guy. And he did a little bit of a video of the Islamic takeover of Michigan and did this video as he looked down to Dearborn. And here's what he came up with.
Welcome to Dearborn.
So we are the largest Islamic center in North America.
Assalamu alaikum. Are you working here? Do you want Sayad to win or Stevens?
Hezbollah don't cause trouble. You know, they're just there to watch my store.
This is the Islamic takeover of Michigan. Welcome back to the Nate Friedman Show. I've come to Dearborn to see what it's really like here. It's an ordinary Wednesday, and if you had to do some work on the house and stop at Home Depot first, these are the signs you would see, each of them translated in Arabic. Next up, I wanted to speak to the people of Dearborn about the upcoming Senate race between Al-Sayad and Stevens. Al-Sayad is on track to become the first Muslim senator in our country's history. He wants to abolish ICE, defund the police, and went on tour with Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. Which one do you prefer to win?
What do you think, bro? I'm Arabic. I'm Lebanese, right?
Yeah.
Steven is pro APEC.
Oh, is she?
Okay, of course
Yeah.
she does. She
Yeah.
gets money from APEC.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't like APEC. All the Arabs live here.
Right.
The mayor, he's Arab. The council's mostly Arab, you know?
Yeah. And you're saying that is the case?
Personal friends of mine, the mayor of the council.
Do you think that when he becomes senator, that he should fight for a bill that makes prayer times, like that businesses must support prayer breaks? Would that be something
Most
that...
of them around here do.
They do already?
Yeah, they just close.
They close for prayer?
Right, close for prayer.
That's good.
And they go to prayer.
Yeah. And what about halal meat in schools? So
We have a lot of halal meat in schools now here in Dearborn, everywhere.
Yeah. Where do you stand on which government? Is it Hezbollah or is it something else? Like what's going on actually?
Okay. I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Hezbollah only protects Lebanon.
Yeah.
If there's no Hezbollah, it's gone, Lebanon.
Right.
Israel will take it over.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing keeping them out.
Yeah.
Hezbollah don't cause trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're just there to watch my store, let's just say. And if they come and start breaking down my store, we're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
And that's what Hezbollah does.
Would you like to see United States allied with Hezbollah?
Hell yeah.
Oh, man. It was such a pleasure talking to you, man.
Yeah, man.
Whoa.
Well, I don't think we understand the subtlety of this. It's no longer cute. It's no longer, you know, it's beyond. It's serious.
Yeah. Wow.
Very, very serious. And when they can break for Muslim prayers throughout and I'll tell you what you won't see in Dearborn. You won't see any nativity scenes for Christmas.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
You won't see any crosses for Easter.
Right.
So this is something. We're heading for a real serious clash here. This is not good, and it's alive and well in the United States. And for the most part, the UK is further down the road than we are with this nonsense.
Yeah, it's true.
It's really something. All right, we'll take a quick ice cream break with peaches.
Bring everything right back to ground zero, 'cause it all comes down to this. Love God and love people. We're living.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests, or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon.
He's got the whole world in his hands, and he knows the plans for us. Above and beyond we could ask or imagine. His grace is more than enough. It's in his hands. It's in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Come on, Steve.
Jerry's Historical Archives. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. Relive the past and learn something new. Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
Welcome back. 8 minutes before the top of the hour, we had our good friend Pastor Mark Little on with us. He also heads up CURE, which is an organization that deals with the effects of abortion across the country. And like most of us, his brain went on tilt when Massachusetts passed a law about 2 weeks ago. If you remember the scene, the governor's there with a bunch of women behind her signing this bill that you could kill your baby up to the day of birth, natural birth. I don't understand this, the evilness of this, and the cheering of this. But this is one of 10 states now that allow this, and here's Pastor Mark's response to it.
And what we're looking at, Perry, is a culture that is blind. It has traded the altar of pagan sacrifice, and they call it healthcare. This is demonic. It is using blood as a currency to get convenience, to get autonomy, to get their bodies unchanged, and all of the selfish things that happened in pagan sacrifice. And what we have done, and what the enemy has done and allowed the culture to accept, is giving Satan what he wants, which is the closest thing to God, the most vulnerable among us, our children. And if we sit by and allow it, we join and are complicit. We have to keep praying. We have to keep fighting for those little ones that won't make it under the laws like the one in Massachusetts. Pray for Mara Healy. Pray for deliverance. Pray for the Holy Spirit to convict. I pray that he just take down the buildings. They have no place to go.
Wow.
Well, I realize this is hard to digest early in the morning, but boy, that's reality, folks. That's where we are today. Leighton Gray will be with us. Hey, perfect timing to have him on. He's like an attorney, lives up in Canada. Let's get his sense of feel. I don't know why we're in this trade war with Canada. I don't get this. Forgive me, and I'm sure there's other reasons. I'm not an economist. We play one on TV. We needed this like we needed a root canal, but we'll see what his take is on that. And then Oregon Congressman Cliff Bentz will share our time together with you on that.
Well, it was an accident waiting to happen on the highway, and really too much for the Highway Patrol. Check this out.
When a 2,000-pound bull decided to take a late-night stroll down a California highway, police quickly discovered they were out of their element. Deputies and California Highway Patrol officers spent hours trying to catch the runaway bull near Half Moon Bay, but nothing worked. So shortly after midnight, they called in a professional rancher. Samuel Ramos Palomino was asleep when they found him. Despite having to be at work at 4 a.m., he jumped out of bed and rushed to help. He lassoed the bull, but then his rope snapped in half. Undeterred, Samuel grabbed the remaining rope, lassoed the bull a second time, and finally got him secured around 2:30 in the morning. He even loaded the bull into his trailer and gave him a safe place to stay until he could be returned home. And it makes sense. When the police need help catching a bull, you call a cowboy.
Well, of course you do.
Yeah.
All right, take with you Mark 12. Do we have time? We don't. All right, take with you anyway Mark 12, verse 30. I'll say it to you a little bit later on.
Okay.
We're going to go race our zero turns. We'll be right back. Ooh, look at that.
We will fall together.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Hi, I'm Paulina Leiser, producer and host of The Ancient Church. Join me Sunday evenings as we explore Orthodox Christianity, its history, theology, worship, and living traditions.
The Ancient Church, Sundays at 6 p.m. on the Dove TV.
At Kelly's Automotive Service, we understand that the automotive industry has a certain reputation, and we try every day to prove that we're different. We believe working from our purpose, which is to bless our staff, clients, and community, is a good start. While getting your car serviced or repaired isn't something that you look forward to, we hope that you leave us feeling heard and taken care of. Kelly's Automotive Service in Grants Pass and Medford, where we service your vehicle, but take care of you. KellysAutomotive.com.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for Boise and the Treasure Valley. Seen on KTVJ3 and these Dove TV affiliates. Good morning. You're tuned to theDove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on theDove.
There will only be one winner of the Freedom 250, and how fitting that it's Kyle Kirkwood. As the Secretary of Transportation waves the checkered flag, Kyle Kirkwood wins an American on the top step of the podium at the Freedom 250.
Well, there you go. Kyle Kirkwood wins the official Freedom 250 Grand Prix in Washington, D.C. over the weekend, where they converted our capital into a racetrack.
Yeah.
And away he goes, and quite the race. You caught part of it.
I got out of church and went home. It was still going. There's like 100,000 people, in the stands there, and they were racing. I'm telling you, and it was a city course, and through the streets of the capital. And I thought, well, these fast Indy cars aren't going to be able to go that fast. But there was one straightaway. They were getting up to 170 miles an hour.
Well, I saw the course. They did a couple of drive-through the courses, and slow. But I have to tell you, they really converted that town into a racetrack. They had to put up the barriers, the concrete barriers, the fences, and everything. There was one wreck, but nobody got hurt, which was good. But it was quite the race.
It was fantastic, and the president, he did the course in the Beast.
He did.
I don't think he did 170.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think they even scratched any rubber anywhere. But anyway, he did it, and then of course we'll have more on that a little bit later on. Congratulations, but congratulations to Kyle Kirkwood. He's the first American to win this, and so what a one to win too. I mean, this is one of a kind.
And is this going to be the only Freedom 250? Is it the only one that they'll hold in Washington D.C.? A one-off, as they say?
Well, are you going to do 251?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah,
but it was fun to watch, and the spectators were into it. It was carried by Fox. I wonder what kind of numbers they had on that.
Well, that'd be interesting to find out. So you came home from church and saw it?
And it was on, yeah.
Okay.
And I was able to get in.
Then I realized what happened to you, because we had a camera catch you. He was so struck by this speed, he went out and did this. He took a zero turn and did a barrel race.
Barrel race.
There you go.
That is too cool, man. I would do this. Yeah, why not? And I would mow while I'm doing it. I'd have that blade going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things here that this could be the new rodeo event.
Oh, that's funny.
He obviously took the muffler off.
It's something. It's an unusual sound for a zero turn. Doesn't sound like mine.
Okay. So there's a couple things here we need to do. We need to put the roll bar all the way up.
Yes.
And they should be wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, have a good time. But I got a funny feeling this is going to turn into something.
Oh, it could. It could.
This could turn into
Why not?
people souping up their zero turns and turning it into. So did you have fun doing that? Did your doctor know you did that?
There's some things he doesn't need to know.
All right, good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on theDove on a back at it Monday morning. A little bit warmer temperatures in our backyard for a couple of days, then it backs down again, so we're kind of in that. The only thing that makes all of this bearable is the days are shorter and it gets cooler quicker.
Yeah.
Very refreshing in the evening, so looking good. Anything special today?
Well, it is National Self-First Day, an annual observance that serves as a reminder that prioritizing your physical, mental, and emotional health is not a luxury or a source of guilt.
Self-first?
But a necessity. Yeah, self-first. It's like putting yourself first. And I thought
the whole world does that.
I know. That's every day, isn't it?
It is. It is a disease.
I thought, you know what? I really debated whether to even put this in, but we really do have to.
It's a pandemic.
Yes. But I thought, you know what? There's a great way to address this. Serve someone.
There you go.
Absolutely. It helps so many. It obviously helps the person that you're serving, but it really helps yourself as well.
Yeah, take yourself out of the picture and put somebody else in today.
Yes.
challenge you to go out of your way and to do something for somebody else today.
Yes.
That's the challenge for you today.
There you go.
unto others. It's the golden rule.
Yes.
As you would have them do unto
Yes.
you.
Right.
Then run.
And
Get on your zero turn.
yeah, okay. That's a good suggestion. It's National Maryland Day, a coastal location that brings with it a deeply rooted maritime heritage that includes an ocean battle defending the city of Baltimore at Fort McHenry during the War of 1812. One witness to the action became so inspired that he penned the words that later became our national anthem. And of course, his name Francis Scott Key.
There you go.
That was along the Maryland coast. And so our hats off to Marylanders. Is that what they're called? Marylanders?
That's
Today
what I
they
call
are.
them.
Today they are, yeah. It's also a couple things to eat. National Waffle Day.
All right.
Yes, this mouth-watering breakfast treat, I guess we could say. There are a lot of ways to serve it. Maple syrup or fruits and whatever else you want to put on it. Lots of butter, whipped butter. It's getting more artery clogging by the moment here.
Oh, come on.
And of course, the big hit at all breakfast nooks in hotels and motels these days, as more and more of these places are serving or allowing you to go in and make your own breakfast. And the self-serve waffle iron is always there, it seems to be.
Yep.
Yep. And they have, pre-measured batter for you. You pour it in and you flip that thing over and it beeps to remind you that it's ready. And it's about, the only time I make waffle, we don't even have a waffle iron at home. Do you have a waffle iron?
Yes.
Okay.
We do it all the time.
Well, this was the day that
Peggy has one with little animals on it, like a little elephant, a little bear or something.
That's cool. This is the day that the waffle iron was patented, so that's why we celebrate. So enjoy your waffles and then top it off with peach pie, because this is a mouth-watering dessert at the heart of peach harvest season. And don't forget the a la mode.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Got to have some ice cream.
Well, the peaches are ripe in Southern Oregon, and you can get them, or you can go pick them. That little place out there in Talent where you can go literally into the orchard and pick them yourself. We've done that. Peggy's done it. And they hand you these big, beautiful, they are so juicy. And she made, I'm saying, I know it's not the right thing, but it's like a tart.
Oh.
Where she made the peaches and folded it over.
Okay.
Oh, gosh, it was
sounds
delicious.
wonderful.
With a little scoop of vanilla bean.
Yes, okay. And of course, there are some states that produce a lot of peaches. We think of Georgia, obviously, but California is #1. And there are a number of others, including South Carolina, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Washington, and our own Oregon has a pretty good amount of peaches, too.
Back to these hotels where you have breakfast comes with the room.
Right.
There's a new fad now where they have to put these in the room, and you have to use your room key to get in, because people from the outside are just coming in and having breakfast and going out.
Oh, you know what? That makes a lot.
It's a new problem, and so now they're putting them behind where you have to have your room key to get in there.
Get in there.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I never thought about
that.
that.
Yeah, either that or you have a policeman standing there and you say, "Show me your room key."
You know what? Yeah, it's a real little reflection of what's going on with the human heart. Huh?
Oh,
hey, we got a way to beat you here. We're going to go in and get you free breakfast. That's wrong.
We've lost our conscience, I guess.
Yes, we have.
Okay. All right, so much for all that. Let's take a look at the weather for your Monday.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Patchy smoke across northern Oregon and southern Washington, with Vancouver reaching 89, Portland 90, Wilsonville 92, and McMinnville near 90. Continuing warm through the Willamette Valley with patchy smoke and a high of 90 in Salem. Albany turns sunny and reaches 89, while Corvallis and Eugene see mostly sunny skies, also with highs near 89. Central Oregon turns hot with areas of smoke in Prineville and a high of 95. Bend reaches 91 with patchy smoke, while Sun River hits 90, also with patchy smoke, then cloudy skies. Boise stays hot with a high of 102. Along the Oregon coast, morning fog gives way to mostly sunny skies in Coos Bay with a high of 74. Port Orford reaches 70 under mostly sunny skies, while Brookings starts with patchy fog before turning partly sunny in 55. Crescent City sees decreasing clouds with a high of 63. Across southern Oregon, hot conditions push Grants Pass and Medford to 100. Ashland is mostly sunny and reaches 95, while over in the Klamath Basin, sunny skies and an afternoon high of 89. In Northern California, sunny skies bring a high of 95 to Wairika. Heat continues in Redding near 97 and Chico 96, while Fort Bragg sees patchy dense fog with a high of 61. In the Bay Area, clouds give way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs near 80. San Francisco sees decreasing clouds and a high of 68, while San Jose reaches 84 under clearing skies. For Central California, mostly sunny skies bring Sacramento near 93. Fresno Visalia climb to 102, and in Bakersfield, hot with a high of 104. And that's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
And here's a new picture. This is from Treasure Island looking into the city, into San Francisco. So you see the Bay Bridge, top layer going into the city, bottom layer coming out. Can't see too much activity there. A little bit of morning fog, marine air, I guess you could say, but like the sun kind of poking through the clouds right on the, the big buildings in downtown San Francisco. Still a beautiful city in spite of all of its problems. I hope they can get it back to where it's fun to go there.
That's a gorgeous shot. That is a picture.
And we have another one. This one is just south of us here a little bit. This is Mount Antelope looking out towards Mount Shasta. That's down in Wairika, looking over to Mount Shasta. So we have some clouds down there, and they're pretty with the trees and everything.
Yeah.
And you can see Mount Shasta way out there with a little bit of snow on it. Yeah, good stuff this morning.
For a lot of snow this coming year. We've been talking about the El Nino coming in.
The El Nino, there's two schools of thought. One says it'll be quite wet and stormy and rain and cold. The other one says no. It depends on the water temperature warming from the equator is where the El Nino starts. And they're saying it's a warming one. As that water temperature works its way towards Hawaii and then eventually towards the west coast here, the Pacific Northwest, those temperatures have a lot to do with how they're going to react to the moisture in the air, the good old weather cycle, as to whether or not we're going to have another lean, mean year of dryness or one that's very wet but no snow, or one that's wet and snow. And we just don't know yet, but El Nino can produce all three of those scenarios.
I am looking for the snowy one. Thank you very much.
Well, look, with all seriousness, let's ask the Lord to use El Nino to bring us what we need, and that's some wet weather.
Yeah. Well, are you ready to celebrate today? We have a reason, and here with great encouragement is Johnny Erickson Tada.
I love that worship song. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. I mean, you could meditate on that line for a month and never exhaust the powerful truth behind it. Because who are you? You're loved by God. That literally is who you are. 5 times in his gospel, the Apostle John refers to himself as, quote, the disciple whom Jesus loved. Right there. His most important identity is not his name, but being loved by Jesus. My identity and yours, everything you are, everything you'll ever be, is all wrapped up in Christ's love for you. You got breath because he loves you. You got a name, a family, a mission, all because he loves you. You escaped hell and have a home in heaven because Jesus loves you. It's who you are. You're loved by the Lord. And that's your reason to celebrate today.
Right. Once you start singing.
That kind of brings things down to the basics, doesn't it?
Yep.
All right, good morning to you. 13 past the hour. Let's take a look at some of the top stories on our Back at It Monday morning. Here we go again. We're in a little bit of a trade war with Canada. Not sure what this is all about and why we're even doing it, but we have 2 gentlemen here that seem to be having a little bit of an ego problem, in my opinion, where the citizens of both countries seem to suffer from this. But the Trump administration said Sunday, because they were getting together and having this big trade negotiation, well, the whole thing blew up, didn't go anywhere. And the president basically said that Canada would be foolish to think it could win a trade war with the United States. Well, Prime Minister Mark Carney, you got to remember how this guy came into office and who he really is. He's a socialist globalist. He's very friendly with the Chinese.
Very, yeah.
He is the most unpopular. I thought Trudeau was unpopular.
And he was unpopular.
This guy's even less popular than Trudeau was. But anyway, here's his response to the president's little bit of a tit-for-tat trade war.
For over a year, Canada has worked intensively and in good faith with the United States to negotiate a new comprehensive trade deal. We've been pragmatic, patient, and persistent. We pursued every opportunity to reach an agreement that protects Canadian workers and their families, that strengthens our economy, and that respects Canadian sovereignty. We've been under no illusions. We recognized from the start that America has changed. Early last year in this room, I observed that the decades-long process of steadily increasing integration between our economies was over. Our government understood before many that America would transform all of its commercial relationships, that it would put a series of tariffs on its closest allies and use economic integration as a weapon. We recognize that sometimes its signature was written in pencil.
Okay, so these guys are really, now this is tit for tat. I don't know why this happened. Why this is an issue. The citizens and the businesses, Canadian citizens and businesses, the United States citizens and businesses are going to suffer because these two guys can't get their heads into the same room because it's too big. So I don't know where you're going to go with this. This is not good news. This is not good. I don't know why we're in the middle of everything else, why we're fiddling around with this one, but there must be a reason for it. In the meantime, Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott, who is from South Carolina, is defending and has clearly and wholeheartedly endorsed Darlene Graham, who is Lindsey Graham's sister. As you know, she was appointed to his seat to finish his term through January and has since now to be seen as a very serious contender. Well, they had a special primary 2 weeks ago, and Senator Darlene Graham, who replaced her brother, and Representative Ralph Norman, these two people did not get 51% of the vote. So they have a special runoff election tomorrow. And Senator Tim Scott has come out and endorsed wholeheartedly Senator Darlene Graham to be the senator. This is interesting because Representative Ralph Norman, a very conservative, well-respected, is saying, well, we'll see what happens. And so here's what Senator Scott had to say about Darlene Graham.
I said earlier this year, 2026, is the year of affordability. And President Trump nailed it when he said that Darlene Graham understands the issues facing Americans today and South Carolinians today, the issues of affordability. She goes to the grocery store. She understands the prices of eggs and meat and some of the challenges facing the American people. She focuses on helping people with disabilities for the last 30 years as her career. She is ready to take on the issues that everyday Americans are facing. And Kristen, one other thing that's really important, I watched her on the campaign trail. I watched her go through 2 funerals for her brother, and then I watched her carefully for 30 days in the Senate, casting deciding votes for the AG, working on getting her first bill passed, the Russia sanctions bill. What did I assess? Highly qualified, incredibly competent, ready for prime time. She's ready to tackle the issues of affordability for the American people, and she's ready to serve the great state of South Carolina in the United States Senate.
All right, so he's endorsed her, so this is going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Special election tomorrow between Darlene Graham, the sister of the late Lindsey Graham, and Representative Norman. So we'll see how this turns out. The winner of that special election tomorrow will end up being the candidate to go into the general election.
What do you see in your tea leaves on this?
What tea leaves? Ice cubes. I see ice cubes in there.
Any indications? Any
numbers? She was ahead a couple of points against Norman in the first one.
Okay.
I suspect she'll get it. The question is then, will the South Carolina people be ready to put her in November?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Lindsey did have some serious competition with the Democrat. So this could be a race. We'll see what happens. I would imagine that the RNC is going to sink a lot of money into this one. So.
And they have a lot of money compared to the other side.
Well, the RNC has money. The DNC has debt.
Right.
Kind of an interesting dilemma.
Yeah, and they have that other faction of the Democrats that they're trying to deal with.
Yeah, it's a mess for them.
Yeah.
All right, the WOW NBA.
Oh no.
That's what the W stands for.
Yeah, that's it. It has to, because they don't know what.
They don't know what a woman is.
Right.
But this whole thing just got really crazy over the weekend. This gentleman, Enes Kanter Freedom.
Right.
All right, Freedom. Tell me about this guy.
Well, this guy's an ex-NBA player, played like 11 years in the NBA. He's a big guy, like 6'10".
He's one of the guys.
And he wants, and on a matter of principle, because the NBA doesn't know what a woman, WNBA doesn't know what a woman is, says, okay, well, if you don't, I'll make myself eligible for the draft. Because, sometimes I guess I feel like a woman. And so he's going to go in and make himself eligible for the draft. And, of course, that is sending them through the roof. But here we're looking at the protests over the WNBA refusing to take a stand on women's sports. And that's Enes Kanter's Freedom's whole issue with it. And I think everybody else's as well. I think, why is it that a league that is, set up for women can't protect women wanting to play women's sports? What's the problem?
Well, it's the wokeness of our culture, it's the EI stuff. So in the meantime, he got shouted down at the match and was asked to leave.
He was at a ball game last night.
And he wore a T-shirt, basically said...
Basically, woman, noun, adult... what was the adult... adult female human.
Adult female.
Adult female human. So he's at the baseline, basically, front row seats.
Yeah.
And Sophie Cunningham hits a three. And, Sophie Cunningham's outspoken in protecting women and women's sports. So he gets up and he cheers for her. That's all he did. Well, one of the opposing players took issue with it and got in his face and started calling him some things. And eventually, words were had back and forth. And rather than tell a player, you shouldn't go after a fan for just simply cheering on a play or a shot, they kicked him out. They escorted him out of the building.
Absolutely crazy. Here's what he had to say.
I feel like God gave me this huge platform, and I'm trying to use this platform to be the voice of all those innocent people out there who don't have a voice. I mean, that was my goal. So this is literally God's work. I only fear God and God only. Everyone bleed like me. So I know this is God's work, and I'm not going to give up. And I have no regrets, because whenever I sit down with all these families, I just had a basketball camp in New York, and I remember all the families were coming up to me and saying, thank you. We would like to thank you for what you're doing for our daughter.
Well, look, as you know, he makes himself available for the draft. And if they don't pick him and the other two that have put themselves out there, they've really put themselves into a mess here. I think the only thing that can happen now is for those who support women's sports is not go to the games. Don't buy the tickets and dry it up. Because even though there's being subsidized by the NBA, at what point? Where's the financial breaking point?
Right. Well, and you know what's going to happen? I don't know how they're going to deal with these ex-NBA players who are now trying to make a point. What they're going to do, how they're going to disqualify them, but I have a feeling somehow they will. But down the road, there are going to be legitimate trans players that come and make an attempt to do this. How are they going to handle this?
Well, I just, look, let the protests continue.
Yeah, right.
That's the only thing you can do. It's no different than trans in high school and some of these teams now refusing to play.
We're seeing it across the board.
Yeah.
And as you are so quick to point out, it's only guys trying to play against the girls. It's never girls trying to play against the guys.
Never.
Ever.
Never.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to Kyle Kirkwood. He is the winner of the Freedom 250 Grand Prix in Washington over the weekend. It was quite the show. And this was a big deal. And what'd you say, 100,000 plus?
Yeah. Spectators around the track.
Yeah, there was one accident. Nobody got hurt. They kind of banged around each other, but they got through that okay. And some
good racing going on.
Yeah, they got some good speeds going on here.
Yeah.
But what they had to do to get this track ready is pretty amazing. And so this probably won't happen again.
Yeah.
But Kyle, he's the winner, and he comes across the finish, the Freedom 250. So prior to all this, the president did do a lap in the Beast. So then he comes out in the Beast, and he and Melania, and they congratulate him. Now, what was interesting, before the race, the Freedom 250 Grand Prix group presented Melania with a helmet with her name on them.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is kind of cool. Yeah. But anyway, an American wins the American Freedom. That's a good one. So.
Yeah.
And to your point, I guess there's no power steering here?
No, yeah. And, again, too, there were a couple of Grand Prix yesterday. We had this one going on in Washington, D.C. They also had the Dutch Grand Prix going on. And so I started looking at the difference, because I watched that one as well. I really like F1. And I started looking at the difference in the cars. And, of course, these cars are designed for different kinds of tracks, especially for the oval. They go a lot faster when they're going around the oval. And also on the F1 cars, they have a lot more ground effects that make them suck down to the track, so they take the corners faster, which is really very dangerous on an oval. They can't have that much downforce on a car. But that's one of the big differences in the cars, is that the F1 cars have power steering, and they're doing the road courses like crazy, and the Indy cars don't have power steering. But a 250-mile race on city streets with a lot of corners, those guys were tuckered out at the end of that race.
Yeah. So back to what Jerry did over the weekend, Scott. You have this. So are you gonna put wind fenders on this?
Yeah, I'm gonna get ground effects on this baby. Yeah, man, I'm getting wings on it.
Jerry in his zero turn, doing a barrel race. I really think this has got legs. I'll almost guarantee you this is going to go somewhere. This is going to become an event.
It should. Yes.
You know? It's kind of like tractor pull.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
So look at this guy.
Oh, I love it.
So the various makers of zero turns. All right. So are they going to put like wind scoops on them to keep it down?
Why not?
I do think you need the roll bar up in a helmet.
Yeah, I think that'd be safe. Obviously that guy didn't have the helmet, but he should.
All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
No, I'll never leave your side. And don't go thinking you're the only one that can get it right. Yeah, you got my love.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV. The Dove TV is pleased to announce we're now seen in the San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose area via a new full-power TV station, KEDB, seen on cable, satellite TV, and over-the-air. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for San Francisco, Oakland, and the San Jose area on new full-power KEDB TV. In a world desperately seeking truth, Cliff Connectley and his son Stuart travel across the U.S. to give an answer for questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
What is the evidence that Muhammad spoke the truth? What is the evidence that Jesus Christ spoke the truth?
Their mission is to ignite a passion for truth, guide individuals to embrace faith, and help people find purpose, engaging skeptics.
It kind of sounds like then that God punished us The vast majority of chaos in nature is a direct result of God stepping back.
They're driven by a deep commitment for spreading the message of Christ to a world who needs it.
But you see, what Satan has done is he's put doubt in our mind.
Join them as they strive to make a lasting impact on lives and hearts, sharing the love of Jesus with an unwavering dedication.
Because God loves you, and God has given you gifts.
Watch Give Me an Answer, weekdays at 3 on the Dove TV.
All right, welcome back. Happy Monday to you. Back at it on a Monday, 29 past the hour. A little bit of a fire update. Most of the fires in Oregon, we have 2.4 million acres that have burned or continue to burn a little bit here in the state of Oregon. Some of the big fires, the Wright Spring fires, 55% contained. The Roe fire, which is a complex fire, the Grasshopper, most of those are pretty much circled now. They're not totally out, but they got them under control. There's one fire, it's 5,500 acres, the Austin fire. It's only 7% contained. But yesterday, one broke out that's got everybody really nervous, and it's a 13,000-acre fire just north of Reno, Nevada. It has taken out some structures. It's heading to town. They're saying over 1,000 homes are being threatened, and 42,000 people are now been given evacuation notices. In other words, be ready to go.
Yep.
This is a typical sagebrush fire driven by wind.
Yeah, right outside the Nevada's second largest city.
Yep.
Reno.
And there it is. And it's coming to town. Now, the problem with that fire is wind.
Yeah.
And you can see it in the flames and everything else.
Yeah.
And that sagebrush, when it gets hot and dry, it is a ferno.
Yeah,
and so
we hear it was, this is not a natural event fire. This was sparked by somebody somehow. We don't know, we haven't heard that news yet, but it is a man-made fire or started fire. And 395 is closed from what I hear, which is the highway coming in from Susanville over there. We always take that when we head down. But, and it's near 80 as well, you know.
It is. Well, it's where they come together there.
Yep.
Anyway, about 400 firefighters on the scene. There's a bunch of helicopters, bulldozers, and of course they got aircraft fighting it. But the problem with this one is it's a sagebrush fire, and boy, those are really tough. Well, all of them are. But what's driving this? If you ever been to Reno and you've been in that area, and you're coming in, if they're coming in 80 or the other one, that is a tunnel for wind.
Right. And the Sierra Nevada range is right there. It just kicks right up, and the winds kick up against it. And there's a reason why there are a lot of, glider activity there and parasailing activities, and it's really popular in the area because of the winds, and obviously that's the issue.
One of the gentlemen we work with already has lost this television tower. Went out there. So. It's serious, so that's what's happening there. All right, let's take a look at Wall Street for a Monday morning. Thank you, Preston at Smart Lawn. Let's see what's happening there, if it's liking this trade war or not. The Dow's coming in this morning up 131. However, the Nas is down 228, and the S&P down 26, almost 27 points. So kind of a mixed bag with the opening of the bell this morning. Gold's back up, a little over $100, $47.22. Silver's right at $69, and crude oil's up but down. It's just under $93, down about 3 cents.
Yeah, so Pam was going through some of the charges the other day, and she goes, "Did you really spend over $85 filling up the car? Not the truck? The car?"
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, and that's the cheapest diesel in town.
Yeah.
That's what we got right now, anyway.
Now we got a trade war on top of it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, and speaking of such dire matters, $40 trillion in debt. That's where we are right now in this country. And we talked a little bit about this in the last hour. But here, Vice President J.D. Vance was asked by Newsmax's Carl Higbee about this debt and what the administration is trying to do to offset it. And here is the Vice President's answer.
So there are a couple of things the president has talked about to try to address this problem. First of all, he's talked about a sovereign wealth fund because, as you know, actually the stock market, the equity market has performed a lot better than the bond market. There's a weird way where American taxpayers are getting fleeced because of the very high debt charges. By the way, very high debt charges that started under the Biden administration. This is a crisis that we inherited, and I think has gotten better. I'm not saying that everything is fixed, but it has certainly gotten better.
Sure.
The other thing is that Scott Bessent, the amazing Treasury Secretary, he has had a very discreet plan, of course, supported by the President of the United States, to get the United States to a point where our economy is growing faster than our debt. And if you look, we are on track. So even though the debt is too high, even though we inherited this debt bomb from the Biden administration, we actually do have a plan to get the economy growing faster than the debt. And that's the most important thing. The issue that we've had under the Biden administration and what we're still kind of dealing with is that the debt was growing faster than American GDP. That's the problem. That's something that we're certainly fixing every single day in the Trump administration. But you know, even though the media doesn't cover this, I'm glad you're asking this question because Scott Bessent is very much on top of it. He knows it's a problem, and he's got the president's empowerment to do something about it.
Did you understand any of that?
No.
Okay. Point made. We'll be right back. Okay.
Help me live with my eyes wide open. 'Cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Singing, oh, Lord, show me what matters. Throw away what I'm
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm Guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
All right, welcome back. A lot going on in the Middle East, and it's ever turning, and the U.S. declares an all-out economic war on Iran. And Paul Petit from CBN News has the latest on that.
Today marks the beginning of what U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent calls the endgame on Iran, as the Trump administration shifts to a new phase of economic pressure against the regime.
We're seeing what happens. They have no money. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They are not paying their soldiers. They're not paying their police. They have 350% inflation.
Trump says economic pressure now offers the best path to peace, targeting Iran's oil trade, shadow tanker fleet, cash transfers, and any country still doing business with the Islamic Republic. The pressure is also coming from the military. CENTCOM says U.S. forces have now redirected 68 commercial vessels as part of the blockade of Iranian ports, while Trump boasts America has total control of the Strait of Hormuz. Former Vice President Mike Pence told CNN he believes military action may still be inevitable.
I think it's going to be essential that we keep the pressure on, keep the military assets in the region, because I think the time is going to come sooner rather than later when the president and our ally Israel are going to have to go in and finish the job.
Iran's president says the expired U.S. Memorandum of Understanding remains the best option to end hostilities. But Tehran's Security Council remains combative, threatening retaliation against countries taking part in the U.S. pressure campaign. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee compared the regime to a famous scene from Monty Python's Holy Grail.
He slices off both arms and legs of the Black Knight, and the Black Knight continues to say, "'Tis but a scratch." That scene reminds me of Iran. No matter how many ways they get beaten to a pulp, they pretend they're okay.
Meanwhile, to Israel's north, Israeli and Syrian officials held rare direct talks Sunday aimed at diffusing tensions after Israel struck a Syrian airbase, saying Turkey's growing military presence there could threaten Israel. U.S. Ambassador to Turkey Tom Barrack also sparked controversy after criticizing the strike and saying Israel still occupies the Golan Heights, contradicting President Trump's 2019 recognition of Israeli sovereignty over the heights. Barrack later walked that back, saying U.S. policy on the Golan is unchanged. And in Gaza, Israel is striking Hamas targets after the launch of kites toward Israeli communities. Israeli officials say the kites did not contain explosives, but believe that Hamas may be testing Israel's response. Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz are warning continued launches will bring about intensified retaliation. Middle East analyst Emily Schrader says the Gaza kite threat is nothing new.
This is something that has been used by Palestinian terrorists for quite some time, attaching explosives to these kites. What should be a children's toy instead has been turned into a tool of terrorism.
And Paul Petit is with us now from Jerusalem. Paul, what more can you share about this kite incident that occurred in southern Israel?
Yes, good morning, Lori. Pretty odd, is it not? Yes, 4 kites crossed from Gaza into Israel's border communities in less than 24 hours. And that's particularly sensitive for those folks who live in that community. They remember the kites and the balloons that burned large areas of southern Israel in previous years. Local leaders there are saying they don't want to wait for kites to become lethal balloons or rockets, which is what happened. And Israel Katz has set a very low threshold here for a response. He says a balloon will be treated like a kite and a kite like a drone, whether it is carrying explosives or not. Hamas, meanwhile, insists this was simply children's toys. Lori?
As the U.S. steps up its economic D-Day on Iran, the regime is threatening to halt all Gulf oil exports in retaliation. What can you tell us?
Yes, Lori, this is significant escalation with Iran's rhetoric. Yet another step. The Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council saying if America's economic war continues, not a single drop of oil will be allowed out through the Strait of Hormuz or anywhere else in the Persian Gulf. Iran is also warning shipping not to pass through Hormuz without his permission. And this is important because Tehran is effectively threatening countries far beyond the United States, including the Gulf oil producers who rely on these export routes. China is yet another big part of this. Treasury Secretary Bisson has previously called on Beijing to cooperate, but China says sanctions and pressure will not work, and Beijing has a huge economic stake in keeping Gulf energy moving. And in all this, Pakistan and Oman are planning on meeting with Iran for talks specifically about Hormuz. So lots happening right now.
Okay. See how it all kind of works out. All right, let's take a look at the weather for this Monday morning.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Patchy smoke across northern Oregon and southern Washington, with Vancouver reaching 89, Portland 90, Wilsonville 92, and McMinnville near 90. Continuing warm through the Willamette Valley with patchy smoke and a high of 90 in Salem. Albany turns sunny and reaches 89, while Corvallis and Eugene see mostly sunny skies, also with highs near 89. Central Oregon turns hot with areas of smoke in Prineville and a high of 95. Bend reaches 91 with patchy smoke, while Sun River hits 90, also with patchy smoke, then cloudy skies. Boise stays hot with a high of 102. Along the Oregon coast, morning fog gives way to mostly sunny skies in Coos Bay with a high of 74. Port Orford reaches 70 under mostly sunny skies, while Berking starts with patchy fog before turning partly sunny in 55. Crescent City sees decreasing clouds with a high of 63. Across southern Oregon, hot conditions push Grants Pass and Medford to 100. Ashland is mostly sunny and reaches 95, while over in the Klamath Basin, sunny skies and an afternoon high of 89. In Northern California, sunny skies bring a high of 95 to Wairika. Heat continues in Redding near 97 and Chico 96, while Fort Bragg sees patchy dense fog with a high of 61. In the Bay Area, clouds give way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs near 80. San Francisco sees decreasing clouds and a high of 68, while San Jose reaches 84 under clearing skies. For Central California, mostly sunny skies bring Sacramento near 93. Fresno Visalia climb to 102, and in Bakersfield, hot with a high of 104. And that's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Yeah, the familiar banjo tune. And you know, with all the things going on in the world, sometimes seeming upside down, one of the steady eddies going through the summer is baseball. Baseball just keeps on going.
How are the Yanks doing?
The Yankees we're in a fight. We're in a fight not only for the lead of our division, but for playoff spots, because that's all coming up. So it's all good, and it's all very interesting. But speaking of interesting, a very shocking event took place on this day in baseball history.
On August 24, 1919, Cleveland Indians pitcher Ray Caldwell was about to finish a 2-1 victory over the Philadelphia Athletics when baseball history took a shocking turn, literally. With 2 outs in the 9th inning, lightning struck. Caldwell was knocked unconscious and lay motionless on the pitcher's mound for about 5 minutes. Many thought he was dead and, in fact, were afraid to touch him for fear of electrocution. Caldwell ended up with a burn on his chest, but it wasn't just Caldwell who felt it. The catcher's mask and cap were knocked off, the third base coach lost his hat, and several players reported feeling an electric shock. Then Caldwell got back on his feet. He insisted on facing the final batter and promptly got the out to complete the victory. And amazingly, just over 2 weeks later, Caldwell pitched a no-hitter against his former team, the New York Yankees. Talk about getting struck by lightning and then catching fire.
Ray Caldwell, struck by lightning. He said, get back. Let me get him. I almost got him out. Show me which way's the plate.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we'll take a quick break because Jerry is wanting some peach pie.
Okay.
Yes.
Why not?
We'll be right back.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us, and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America. You may have seen him in the news during COVID, as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs. Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching. Watch Real Life with Jack Hibbs Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV. The financial world can be a complicated puzzle. Watching financial issues equips you to navigate it with financial wisdom and advice rooted in biblical truth. Expert Mark Manila empowers believers to be faithful stewards while navigating the markets, politics, and economy with confidence. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just beginning, gain wisdom, clarity, and confidence to honor God with every financial decision. Weekdays at 5 on theDove.
At 10 minutes before the hour, of course, I think we would all agree we live in a pretty anxious culture these days, you know. Our country's now $40 trillion in debt. We got a trade war going on with Canada. There's wars and rumors of wars all over the earth, all over the place. We got El Nino. We don't know if it's going to be good or bad.
Cost me $85 to put diesel.
That's a bad day.
Yeah.
That's a bad day. Man. So I did ask our good friend Pastor Mark I said, Pastor Mark, a lot going on. Of course, he is such a defender of the impact of abortion in the country. He speaks all over the country on this issue. And what happened in Massachusetts is just sheer evil. Anyway, I did ask him, I said, if you were to step before your congregation with all these high anxiety issues, what would you say to your congregation today? And here's what he had to say.
I say it often because these things are all around and they're not going to get any better, is the bad news. The good news is that he's given us a way to deal with it. When Jesus took his last breath, the veil was torn from the top down, and he gave us access right to the throne. And that access is by prayer. You know, we can't make it in this journey without walking with the Lord. Because if we're not walking with the Lord, we're out of relationship, and there's no rock that we're tethered to without it. So the answer, truly, there's all kinds of examples that I give in an episode that I call Finding Peace. Like Peter in jail. No one could access Peter, but his community was praying. Peter was going to be executed the next morning. They couldn't get to Herod. They couldn't get to Peter, but they could get to God. And those people, those saints, those believers in Yahweh prayed. And as they prayed, you know the story. An angel appeared in the cell with Peter, who was chained between the guards, and his shackles fell off. And the angel said with urgency, "Get up, get up." And those chains fell, and Peter pulled up his garments and put on his sandals. And he walked out. Why? Because the church was praying. We have access to change circumstances. The circumstances don't always change, but we have access. Here's what I mean by that. Jesus prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. He said, Lord, if this cup could pass. Cup didn't pass. He had to take it. But he was praying. What does that mean? Sometimes prayer just prepares us to walk through the storm. But as we walk through the storm, please remember, Jesus is in the boat with us. So, saints, the answer is you've got to get on your knees and stay there. Because relationship with God in this season is about the only thing that's going to be a medicine to your anxiety.
Pastor Mark can preach it, huh?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, look, if a people in a little house can pray Peter out of shackles in prison, do you think we as believers could ask the Lord to take El Nino and turn it into what we really need?
Yeah.
Water and snow.
Yes.
I think we ought to do that. Okay, so much for all that.
Okay, well, talk about an accident waiting to happen, and it's out of the hands of the local authorities. Highway Patrol can't deal with it, local police can't deal with it, but they found a guy who could. Check this out.
When a 2,000-pound bull decided to take a late-night stroll down a California highway, police quickly discovered they were out of their element. Deputies and California Highway Patrol officers spent hours trying to catch the runaway bull near Half Moon Bay, but nothing worked. So shortly after midnight, they called in a professional rancher. Samuel Ramos Palomino was asleep when they found him. Despite having to be at work at 4 a.m., he jumped out of bed and rushed to help. He lassoed the bull, but then his rope snapped in half. Undeterred, Samuel grabbed the remaining rope, lassoed the bull a second time, and finally got him secured around 2:30 in the morning. He even loaded the bull into his trailer and gave him a safe place to stay until he could be returned home. And it makes sense. When the police need help catching a bull, you call a cowboy.
Yeah, of course you do.
Of course you do. Can you imagine getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning, going out there to lasso a bull?
A little early. He's like, hey, man, I don't usually get up till 4.
Yeah. You're robbing me 2 extra hours here.
Oh, man.
Well, there you go.
You get a deal.
Yeah. All right, coming up in a few moments, I'll have Leighton Gray with us. He's a very highly respected attorney in Canada. We'll talk to him about, well, over the weekend, the trade deal between the United States and Canada fell apart. And the two leaders are doing a tit for tat. You know, you put 50 on me, we're going to put 50 on you. You got more to give, you got more to lose. This is going on. In the meantime, citizens and industries and companies really suffer with this kind of stuff. You got to wonder, what in the world is this all about? So from a Canadian perspective, we'll talk to him because Prime Minister Carney is not a popular guy up there.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned that. He's even less popular than Trudeau was.
Yeah.
How do they get these guys?
Well, I think it was another trickery deal when somebody resigns, another one takes over, and then they automatically become one of that nonsense.
It's kind of like the shell game there.
Yeah.
And keep your eye on it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Congressman Cliff Bentz, we'll share our time together with him coming up as well. In the meantime, take with you Mark chapter 12, verse 30. And you shall love the Lord your God with 83% of your heart, 42% of your soul, and 10% of your mind. No, it says you shall love the Lord with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your mind, and with all of your strength. Take that with you today.
And love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. The Jericho walls are breaking, strongholds now are shaking.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Lizer with Lizer Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. Oh, shine.
Monday, the daughter of a Satanist.
He was into witchcraft, worshiping the devil, doing rituals.
And she couldn't escape.
I was just terrified, but I couldn't tell anybody.
Haunted by evil.
I would see shadows walking through my room. I would hear scratching on my doors, my walls.
And how she silenced the spirits.
It was almost like they were lining up one by one, and then I would feel that release.
Watch the 700 Club Monday morning at 11 on the Dove TV. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV, seen on cable, satellite TV, and over the air. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV. Hunters, where the true target is the truth of the gospel. Watch Twin Factor Wednesdays and weekends on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and always an honor when we have time to sit down with Leighton Gray. I consider him just really one of the champions out there. He's a distinguished constitutional attorney. He's the host of the Gray Matter podcast and the author of a fascinating book of 50 essays entitled Leftists, Lies, Laws, and Liberties. There's a picture of the cover of that book on the screen there. He's the senior partner of his law firm. He's also CEO of the Alberta Prosperity Project, and he's a proud Canadian, conservative, and a tireless advocate for restoration of civil liberties guaranteed to all of us by God and the rule of law. He does have a website, and that is the graymatterpodcast.com. graymatterpodcast.com, and there's a picture of that landing page as well. My friend Leighton, good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's great to see you, Perry.
Thank you for your time. All right, we're in a tit for tat trade war. As I said earlier, we got two egos that can't get along. In the meantime, the people in the industry suffers. What's your take?
Well, if you have time, Perry, there's kind of, this is operating on three levels. There's kind of the boots on the ground, the actual trade agreement, which will see U.S. tariffs of 50% on $28 billion worth of Canadian goods take effect. And after last-minute trade negotiations between Canada and the U.S. collapsed, Prime Minister Carney suspended the talks and recalled Canada's negotiators to Ottawa, saying that last-minute changes proposed by Mr. Trump were unfair and economic, and he vowed that Canada will match the new tariffs dollar for dollar. This is really bad news for Canada. It's sort of bad news for America, although America is much less reliant upon trade with Canada and on trade, period, than Canada is. Our whole economy really rests about over 80% of our trade is with the United States, and Canada is a trading nation. And, when people in the Trump administration say that, Canada really benefits a lot from being next to the largest economy in the history of the world, they're right. So that's bad news. But there's another level to this that maybe is a little bit different, and I would want people to see. Not so long ago, our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, did something totally unprecedented. He created a new office within the Prime Minister's office called a CEO or a Chief of Operations. This person is a DNC plant. Her name is Maya Johnson. She was very, very involved in Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential election campaign. And there have been a lot of signs going back to Justin Trudeau that, in fact, there was a very close marriage relationship between the DNC and the Liberal Party of Canada. And I happen to believe, and many others do, that actually What's happening in Canada is our federal government is actually being controlled and taking its cues from the DNC in order to disrupt the MAGA and the Trump administration. And if you want more proof of this, one of the first people to get out the pom-poms and cheer Mark Carney when he cut off trade negotiations was none other than Bill Clinton. And the Clinton Foundation is very, very ensconced in Canada, has received hundreds of millions of donations from Canada and from the Canadian government. So that's level 2. Here's the big level, and I think this is the most important one. What's happening in Canada right now is this government, the Carney government, is intent upon secularizing our country. He's publicly stated lies like Muslim values are Canadian values, that Canada was never a Christian country. And they've taken really, really harsh steps. For example, just recently, the Carney government did something even the Nazis didn't do in Nazi Germany, and that is they banned military chaplains in Canada from even mentioning Heavenly Father or Almighty God in all military ceremonies. This is unprecedented and it's unheard of. But the real story is this government is intent upon driving God from the public sphere, from the public mind, and convincing Canada that we're not a Christian nation, which is, of course, is an outright lie. And so I think the real story here, with the trade being on one level and the geopolitical on another, the real story here is, again, comes back to principalities and powers. And so we have a president who not recently in July dedicated the United States back to God on your 250th celebration of the Declaration of Independence. And we have a Canadian Prime Minister who's driving God entirely, not only from government, but from public life in Canada. And so I think there's sort of a 3-part story there that I see unfolding.
My brain's on tilt. How are the citizens responding to this?
Well, Canada is a very unhappy country and has been for a long time. Part of it is economic. Our economy is simply not growing as it should be. We're watching through the glass the economic prosperity that's happened in the United States over the past decade or so, especially during the Trump years. And but we're really not enjoying any of that. And it's because of the decisions being made by our government. So that's one level. But I think, Perry, what's happening in Canada is we're in a spiritual crisis. Our country, Canada, is a Christian nation. It was founded upon Christian principles. We've been immensely blessed by God. But our citizens have drifted away from God through not only through popular media, a lot of the same reasons that are true in the United States and the United Kingdom. And what we really need in Canada, what would really change our country, is if we had a revival of Christian values and return to Christian values. That's what's missing. There's an illness, a sickness in the soul of our country that those of us who have lived here all our lives really sense and feel. And at the same time, we're bringing in massive numbers of immigrants, many more on a per capita basis than even Great Britain is. But we're not offering the people who are coming here a clear, coherent, or persuasive vision of what Canada is. Because what Canada is, fundamentally, is a nation founded under the laws of God and the rule of law, the supremacy of God and the rule of law. But we're not feeling that. We're not living that out right now in Canada. And it's having effects that are social, economic, and political, and I think most of all spiritually.
Does the Christian community recognize what you're telling us, and are they ready for the fight?
Well, as you know, the problem with the church is that oftentimes we're more divided than we should be. But what I'm witnessing in Canada actually is that there is more coherency in the vision of how to restore Canada. And one of the examples of this is what's happening in my home province of Alberta. The Alberta Prosperity Project that you mentioned and the independence movement is a grassroots movement that has as its core Christian Western values. And I think that is part of the main reason. I think that is the main reason why Carney and company are so against it and are trying to kill it. We have a referendum coming up here on October the 19th on independence for Alberta. But fundamentally, the people I talk to what we're mainly concerned about is conserving this part of Canada that we know and love, and really conserving our values, which, as you know, is a very Christian idea. But we're up against this monster of secularism that's being forced on us mostly through law, but also through political and economic means, trying to make people more and more dependent on government. And of course, at that point, the more dependent you are on government, the less your eye is on God, because as you know, the state at some point becomes a sort of idol and takes the place of God. That's been true of all totalitarian states that we've known, especially through the 20th century and onward.
There was rumors that Alberta was going to become independent. Could it secede from the Union, so to speak?
I happen to think it's inevitable. I really do. It may not happen through the means of a referendum, but I think culturally we're so different than the rest of Canada. We're more like our American brethren, and that's no accident. We have a lot more American connection historically and culturally in this part of the country. We have more in common with the United States, or at least with the Western United States, than we do with the people who live in places like Toronto and Montreal. We don't have much in common with them culturally or politically at all. And worse yet, now Alberta is still a Christian province. We still have Christianity is still vibrant here, and that's a big part of the reason too that I think our values are so different from the rest of Canada. Unless through some miracle the Liberals were removed from power, which is not, that is not foreseeable at this point, at least not for the next 4 years, unless there were a significant change in the approach of the government in Ottawa. I think Alberta independence is only going to gather more momentum. And of course, these trade breakdowns, these trade disputes, which I think are by design. I think they're not a bug, they're a feature of the Carney government. I believe the Carney government is sabotaging these trade talks deliberately. That is only going to drive the Alberta independence movement, in my view.
How is Prime Minister Carney's popularity these days?
Well, it depends who you ask, because the polls, which hardly anyone trusts anymore in this country, say that he's quite popular. However, when you go on social media, he's vilified. When he appears publicly, he's roundly booed. Of course, he's extremely unpopular in Alberta. He's not even regarded as our prime minister. And of course, the other problem we have in Canada is the same one that that the Trump administration is trying to correct in your country, and that is, the reliability of our elections. We have proven Chinese interference in our last 5 national elections, and the Chinese want the Liberals in power, and I think that we're seeing now the fruits of that. Why they want that? Because what's the other story about the trade dispute is that Carney and company are trying to drive us into the arms of the Chinese and away from our historical relationship with the United States. And of course, I can't see how that could benefit anyone in Canada.
Where's the breaking point on this?
Well, that's a great question. I think God has a plan for Canada. And I don't believe that God's plan for Canada is for us to live under the iron boot of socialism. I think that ultimately we are going to end up in a closer relationship with the United States. That might sound a little bit strange to people, but sometimes relationships, this Perry, have to go through periods of discord. Right. We see this in marriages or in family relationships. Right. But I believe that the distinction between Canada and America is artificial and legal. Culturally, we are one, and I believe that ultimately we are going to come back together under the supremacy of God and the rule of law. That's the future that I know God has for Canada and for the United States. And I think under that scenario, everyone wins. This discord and trade disputes and this sort of thing, this is all boots on the ground things that affect people in their daily lives. But as I said, coming back to my earlier point, I think the real battle is for the soul of Canada. Yeah. And I think that's the one that God is most interested in.
I don't want to be too far out on a limb here, but there seems to be a little bit of an opportunity here if America was to reach out just to Alberta.
I think that I actually know that has already happened. I can't say too much about it, but listen, Mr. Rubio, for example, is a very astute gentleman, and he follows world affairs very closely. He knows what's going on in Europe. He knows what's going on in the Middle East, and he's quite aware of what's going on in Canada. And I think that if Canada, I think what would happen if Alberta ever declared independence, it would be similar to what happened in Israel in 1948. There would be immediate recognition from the United States. And from that point on, everyone else in the world would have to fall in line. I don't think it's going to be a situation where Alberta is going to be annexed. I don't think that America has that in mind. I don't think that would be in the best interest of the United States. But I do think a free and independent Alberta in close economic and political concert with the United States would be a win, especially for Albertans, but I think also for the United States.
Well, and would that provide military protection?
Well, I think that would have to be part of it. The scary thing about Canada is we don't even have a sufficient military force that could defend our borders.
Right.
We're completely dependent on the United States for protection of our borders. However, it's been reported reliably that there are at least 500,000 Chinese soldiers on the ground in Canada. And I think that, as I said, Mr. Rubio and Mr. Trump and others are very aware of this. And so there's a very real concern that there could be, that this could come down to a military situation. It nearly happened in 2022, Perry, when you saw the breakup of the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa,
right,
where the Canadian government actually used foreign mercenary soldiers to commit violence against Canadians who were peacefully protesting the policies of our government over COVID-19.
I think there would be a side benefit, Leighton, and that was the other Conservatives in the other provinces probably would migrate to Alberta like crazy, wouldn't it?
I believe this is God's plan. I see Alberta as the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
And this would be very much the way God moves.
Yeah.
that Alberta would be called. We'd have to align ourselves properly with Him, and that would be the pathway that I think the others would follow. That's really what I foresee for our nation.
Wow.
And I'm praying that it comes to fruition.
All right, let me take a quick break. We'll come back and change gears. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out his website, thegraymatterpodcast.com. That's also where you can check out the podcast. And you may want to get a copy of his book, Leftist Lies, Laws, and Liberties, 50 essays put together there. And there's a picture of that that's available online. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets a Vision TV show apart, seen on the Dove TV.
Welcome to The Vision, where the world has a view, but God has the vision.
The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference.
My group, we are a collective of elder rights activists from across the nation.
Each episode blends heartfelt storytelling with practical insight.
To get up every day and just say, Lord, thank you. I'm here. If you woke me up today, you must have a purpose for me, and I think that's the thing.
Encouraging viewers to live with clarity, compassion, and vision.
We are looking for good things because this is the day that the Lord has made.
Join Alveda King and a panel of friends. The world has a view, but God has the vision. Tuesdays at 1:30 and 8:30 p.m. right here on the Dove TV.
Welcome back. Always an honor. We have time to sit down with Leighton Gray, a constitutional lawyer, host of the Gray Matter podcast, author of a couple of books, and I forgot to mention the other one, but let me put it in here. Trials, Tribulation, and Truth is another book that he offers. There's a picture of the cover of that book, available online. And, of course, the other one is Leftist Lies, Laws, and Liberties, and you can check that out. Both available online. Leighton does have a website, thegraymatterpodcast.com, and there's a picture of that landing page. Wow, so much to talk about. Thanks for letting me kind of hijack the topic a little bit, but the breakdown of the trade negotiations over the weekend is a big deal.
Yes.
And God only knows how this will play out, but I'm so glad to hear your perspective, Leighton. Thank you so much. But recently, you just addressed a huge subject dealing with masculinity. Now, with all things on your brain, why did you take this one on?
Well, first of all, I'm a father to two sons who are young men, 22 and 19, and they're going through a lot of the issues that I talk about in that paper. Thanks for mentioning it, Perry. And what's interesting about my show, the Gray Matter podcast, is when we look at our details, we find out that actually our biggest audience are young men between the ages of about 18 and 44 years. And so I think that the message that we are sending out is one that I think young men especially are really craving and need to hear. But what we're not acknowledging in our society right now, but we're seeing the implications of it on many different levels, is a deliberate destruction of masculinity, and especially what I call muscular Christianity. And what I mean by muscular Christianity is what our roles are as described in the Holy Bible, what men are called to do, as fathers, as brothers, as sons, as leaders in our community. What does that mean? Does it mean that we have to tolerate evil and get along with everyone? Or do we have to remember what Jesus said, that he doesn't come to bring peace. He came to bring a sword. He was going to set people against each other. And what muscular Christianity is all about, what I talk about in that piece, what I try to get people, young men, to turn to is the truth. Because if you don't live that truth at the core of your life, the manifestations of that have incredible implications for not only your family circle, for your marriage, for your relationships, but also for society as a whole. And I think if we're going to restore Western society, Western civilization, to its proper glory as Christendom, as it was originally called, I think that this restoration or renaissance of what I call masculine or muscular Christianity is vitally important. I'll just give one example of the effects of this. If you look at the Rape Gang Inquiry report in Great Britain, Perry, what you really see is the breakdown of an essential role that Christian men especially perform in society, in our culture, and that is protection of the most vulnerable in our society, our women and girls. And what you see in that Rape Gang Inquiry report is a complete breakdown of that all the way through, that there simply were no men in that society standing up for women and girls. And that's not unique to Great Britain. That's happening everywhere. And so in a broad way, what I'm saying is it's vitally important that we support young men and we turn young men back to Christ, because that's the only way we're going to restore our society to, I think, what God intends it to be.
That's beautiful, Leighton. We're running out of time. I want to get you back and talk more on this, but there's some evidence to what you're talking about. As you know, George Bonner's research shows exactly what you're talking about. There's the resurgence of young men investigating faith. The recruitment in the American military, all of the various ranks or various divisions, all-time high. All-time high. Young men are looking for meaning, purpose, and mainly structure.
Yeah. Yep. That's what we've lost. But there are ways to get it back, and that's one example, restoring the dignity of our military, which Mr. Hegseth has done a tremendous job of. That's one way of doing it. But I think the key one is bringing people back to faith and back to the prescription for masculinity that's in the Holy Bible. It's not a mystery. It's been there for a long time. But bringing people back to it to understand that that's your natural place. That's where the meaning of your life is. That's where the truth is. That's the part that all of us have to be focused on, and it's why I'm doing Gray Matter and why I'm writing and speaking to people like you.
Well, let me say to our viewers and listeners, Trials, Tribulation, and Truth is one of those aids, and there's a picture. These are all available online, right?
Yes.
Trials, Tribulation, and Truth. There's that book. That's his latest book. And before that, he had Leftist Lies, Laws, and Liberties. His passion for God and the rule of law comes out very clearly in these writings. And certainly communicate with them and take in his podcast. Maybe invite some young men to check it out, thegraymatterpodcast.com. There's a picture of that landing page. This is really interesting. I'm glad to see this. I sense it's a real passion of yours, Leighton. And
it is.
Gosh, I commend you. I really do.
Thanks, Barry.
Let's see how this goes. Well, thanks for your perspective on the other thing. Gosh, go Alberta. You know, what are you guys known for? Cheese, or what are you guys known for up there?
You might think of us as Texas of the North. We're like Texas. There's a lot of beef. We're like Texas with fewer trees and colder weather, but we have a lot in common with that part of that spirit. That Western spirit is very strong in our part of Canada.
For what it's worth, Leighton, I look forward to calling you neighbor.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. Good to see you.
All right. Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
The Dove TV is pleased to announce we're now seen in the Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto area via a new full-power TV station, KEDS, seen on cable, satellite TV, and over the air. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for the Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto area on new full-power KEDS TV.
Well, welcome back, and always a delight when we have time, and we have to lasso them. I've been on horseback all morning. I found them out there, and I threw a lasso around them, and I pulled them, and I just got them by the horns, and I took them down.
Disquieting.
Congressman Cliff Benson is with it. Good to see you, Congressman. How are you? Thanks for your time.
Yeah, great to be here.
Good to see you. A lot going on. Wow, your district's on fire.
It certainly is.
This is like one of the worst seasons ever, right?
It is. I think it is the worst from a number of acres.
I heard like 2.3 million or something like that, and continue to burn. How is the feeling from the community on this? They got to be frustrated. The summer's ruined. What are you sensing out there?
Well, there's huge concern over the price of and the availability of forage feed, alfalfa, because alfalfa was fairly reasonably priced. It was way low if you're somebody that raises alfalfa, but it was reasonably priced for those buying it. And these fires have driven the price up dramatically.
Right.
So even if you can find it, you're going to pay a lot for it. So finding forage, not just for this year, but for the next couple of years while you wait for that range to come back. So there's huge concern. This is one of the reasons we're holding these fire town halls across the district. We'll do one in Klamath and tomorrow, and then we'll do a couple more. We've already done one in Baker City and one outside of LeGrand. And the idea is to give people a chance to come in and comment on how well or how poorly the fire was fought, and their memories will be very fresh. In fact, when we were in Baker City, people were saying, "Hey, you're here too soon." So, yeah.
Okay, so on that issue, we're hearing both sides. We're hearing the sides that, boy, they're attacking them fast, they're on them, they're getting them fast. Then we hear sides that struggle about who's in control and why is it taking so long. Yeah. And I'm sure you're hearing that as well. Maybe you can give us a feel. What happens when a fire does break out? It's on federal land versus state people coming in to help. Is there a standoff? Is there a cooperation? What happens here?
Well, there's a wide variety of answers depending on who you speak with. Certain people will say, we were putting the fire out and the federal folks showed up and told us to stop and told us that they were taking over and for us to leave. Mm-hmm. And we did, and then the fire took off and was out of control. So I've heard that, a dozen times at least.
Okay.
And then I've heard other people say the teams they brought in were, for the most part, great. They did a wonderful job under difficult circumstances, and thank goodness we have them. So I've heard both sides of it. There's new technology that's already being deployed that's going to make following up on the decisions made on these fires more readily available, and that's the FireSat satellite system. They just put up 3 fire satellites about a week and a half ago, and they'll put up, I think, 9 more, and those will provide detailed visual permanent evidence of what happened and when on these fires. Mm-hmm. So no longer will people say, well, it was this way and it was that way, because there's going to be, to the extent that smoke will allow, evidence of all kinds of things. One of the things I've heard about the most are backfires, and sometimes they do great, and many times all they do is burn up more than you would have had to burn up. Mm-hmm. So I've heard literally 30 times now, just on 2 meetings, that the backfires simply advanced the front of the fire.
Wow.
Because wind. Yeah, wind.
Okay. So is there, it comes down to money and resources at the end of the day. And is there enough money allocated? Does it need more? How difficult is it to get that money?
Well, so there was an anticipation of that it would be a bad fire season, and so there was an extra, I want to say $2.5 billion put in to the budgets to be available. We have gone through a huge amount of the money already, maybe more than slightly over half has already been used. And this is in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions already spent. Yeah. One of the concerns that you hear over and over is, well, we don't have enough people. We didn't have enough people. You can't employ 15,000 firefighters full-time in Oregon. Right. You can't afford it. Right. What you can do, and what they've done for years, is realize that fires, we hope, don't occur all across the entire Northwest all at once. And so what happens is you pull in firefighting teams from 4 or 5 or 6 other states, and that's how you do it. And it's called a strategic mobilization, if you will. Mm-hmm. And the idea is we'll bring in help. So, for example, we had 4,000 people at the start of one of the fires, and 2 days later we had 12,000. So we can bring the people in, but it won't be instantaneous.
Where do the outside contractors come in? I see them with trucks, you see them with airplanes, you see them with crews. They've got to be a big part of the equation.
They're a huge part, and there was a definite glitch in the approach to having a contract in place. And so many of the people that had previously contracted with the BLM or the Forest Service didn't realize that if they added an additional piece of equipment, they had to do an amendment to their contract.
Oh, good.
And so
that slowed everything down.
It did at exactly the wrong time. And so our team was able to step in and help facilitate fixing that problem with some of the folks that were delayed. But it was the type of thing you really don't want to see happen, and so that's been coming up in our meetings, and we've already addressed the issue with the Forest Service and the BLM, but we certainly didn't want to see that happen.
Senator Wyden introduced a bipartisan bill that those who lost everything wouldn't be taxed. I think it's a very noble bill, but I got to thinking about it. Property tax is pretty much a state issue. How does this work?
Well, I vaguely remember this, but it was the idea that you wouldn't be, what isn't he wanting to tax? What's the...
Well, see, I couldn't understand that, but it was a very noble thing for him to go on the Senate floor and say that these people are losing everything and therefore they shouldn't be paying any taxes. Okay, well, he's in the federal branch, and most property taxes at the state level, and I'm going, all right, how in the world does this work?
So he wanted a tax holiday of some sort if your property burned up, and so why should you pay property? Yes, well, that may raise a few constitutional issues, but I like the word noble. Yeah. You're free to go to your taxing authority and ask for a reduction in your tax. The tax already on egg land is so low that the reduction may not put too many dollars in your pocket. Perhaps he was talking about their home or other improvements, but I'd have to look further into it. Yeah.
Okay. Some other issues. Bad year water-wise. I know that you come in and out of the Klamath Basin. We're all familiar with the challenges over there. Are you sleeping at night? What do you do, Coach?
What do you do?
And who's controlling the water?
Right. Well, that's another really good question.
Yeah.
Well, federal judges have a lot to say right now about the control of the water in the Klamath Basin. I was able to get a bill passed for purposes of protecting farmers and ranchers against being sent a bill for refurbishing the Keno and Link River dams, the only two dams left on what I'll call the main stem of the Klamath. One of the dams holds back all the water in the lake. Mm-hmm. And when the Bureau of Reclamation took ownership of those dams from the power company, the idea was that they would assume all the liability that went with maintaining the dam. Well, those are big numbers, 30, 60, $80 million numbers. And so when I asked the then Commissioner, Camille Touton, of who was going to have to pay, she said, well, ultimately, perhaps the farmers and ranchers. And I said, well, that's simply not right. That's not right. And so we passed this bill. The bill incorporated a 2015 agreement between parties that anticipated at that time the possibility of removal of the dams. And it was upon that the administration based a decision that the water stored behind the dam on the lake belonged to the farmers and was not subject to the ESA. Mm. And so that is being litigated now, and it's my hope that the judges will see that water that is being stored for the benefit of the farmers. That was the whole idea for the dam in the first place.
Back to forests just for a moment. Part of the argument, you're probably hearing it loud and clear in your town halls, is overall forest management. And the struggles there seem to be a different philosophy between state and federal management. Is there a solution here?
Well, I think there's glimmers of hope. There's a bill that I have introduced, and Senator Merkley has introduced an identical companion bill. We just introduced it 3 weeks ago. The bill is called the Wildfire Reduction Market Expansion Act. And the concept is to expand or clarify the fact that waste wood taken off federal forests can be used to be converted into kerosene. And we now have the process, the cellulosic conversion process, that would allow us to do this at scale. It's expensive. A conversion facility would cost $300 million. It would have a reach of 50 to 60 miles in a radius around the place. So if we put one here, you would have enough wood being grown each year to fund that conversion facility for permanently. And the fact that Senator Merkley is joining in trying to get this passed illustrates his understanding that we have to do something to pay to get this huge amount of fuel out of the woods. Well, it's great news that he is joining it.
Right.
Great news. The way that the program works is built. It's a 19-year-old program. The renewable fuel standard design. We would end up paying a half penny a gallon when you go to purchase fuel for your car or truck, and that half penny would make its way through a process back to pay about $2.40 a gallon for this kerosene, and that the conversion process is between $9 and $11 a gallon, but somebody has to pay to bring the wood out of the forest. But we're spending hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to watch it burn. So, and I don't know what you pay for your fire insurance on your house, but it's gone through the roof. So if we can drive those costs down, the half penny at the pump will look like a pretty good deal.
All right. I want you to go back to your earlier days when you were in the state legislature just for a moment.
Please.
Okay, so we have a chance of electing a Republican governor. And it's kind of like the door's never been more open, if I can put it that way. When Governor Kotek introduced trying to fix a $350 million ODOT problem with a $15 billion tax increase, and then she compromised and brought it down to $4.2 billion. And quite frankly, the citizens rose up and said no and put it back in her lap. Yeah. This is a big deal. All 36 counties turned red on that issue with substantial margin. What do you think?
Well, I think that our governor is one of the least popular governors in the United States. I think she might be the least popular governor.
Right.
And that kind of, there's many words you could put on that policy, but the one that fits a lot is that you don't tax Oregonians without going out and explaining to them exactly what you're doing, how are you doing it, and why it's going to work. And they didn't do any of that. They did none of it. And you can't just show up and go, hey, surprise, we're going to start taxing the heck out of you. And you can't do that. There's a list I've put together of 27 things that Democrat rule has brought our state to, and it's and it's a report card on what 40 years of Democrat rule have done to this state. And our governor, has been present during many of those years, either as Speaker of the House or now as governor. This list should be a total embarrassment to her. And I think that it is. Being 49th in the nation when it comes to fourth grade math and reading performance, 49th in the nation. I mean, this goes on corporate tax competitiveness. Let me mention one thing, and it has to do with health care, because our governor would be the first one to criticize when we tried and are doing our best to rein in the abuses in Medicaid. And she would be talking about affordability and that kind of thing. What she is overlooking completely is her policies are driving business out of this state.
Right.
Business is the one that pays for really good insurance that helps keep down the cost of insurance across the board. But as businesses leave the state, that part of funding our hospitals goes with them.
Right.
And thus, many of the things you see on this list go back to really bad government policies that are causing people to leave the state.
So, we can't afford to lose a Nike. We can't afford to lose a Lithium Motors. We can't, and the list goes on and on and on.
It goes on and on.
And we are borderline there because of this.
Yes.
Do you sense in your bones, so to speak, that Oregonians now realize we've had enough, it's time for a change?
I hope so.
Okay.
the 40 years of Democrat rule. This is why the governor is running against Donald Trump. You never hear about this list of 27 failures. You hear about the president. Well, I was asked yesterday when I was speaking to Rotary here in Medford, well, aren't four of these things in somewhat involve the federal government? And the proper answer is, what about the other 23? I mean, the people want to distract and say it's somebody else's fault.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
It is the fault of those who have been in charge of this state. And it's time for a change. Okay. And Christine Drazan would bring that change. I have to say, I hope she is elected. But what a challenge. What a challenge. When you look at this list, for example, the corporate tax competitiveness, we're 49th in the nation when it comes to attracting business. I say from a tax angle, the poor Christine. I hope she has the job, but my goodness, what a challenge! And she very probably would have Democrats to work with in the legislature to try to get something done.
I understand that problem, but she also has the power to reassign heads of agencies. That's a big deal.
Well, let me just mention a story, if I may.
Yeah.
So when President Trump took over in his first term, he appointed some great folks to those cabinet level offices, just as you're saying Christine Drazan could. Well, you have a huge group of people over 40 years who have been leaning the Democrat way. That's going to be a huge challenge. I actually asked her, do you have a list of the type of people you're going to need for these kinds of jobs? Because it's going to be really, really challenging.
Okay, can I take a quick break and ask you a couple more questions?
Oh, please, sure.
Okay, we'll take a quick, I'm way over on a break. Let me take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina Leiser, producer and host of The Ancient Church. Join me Sunday evenings as we explore Orthodox Christianity, its history, theology, worship, and living traditions.
The Ancient Church, Sundays at 6 p.m. on the Dove TV.
The Life Essentials Interactive Study Bible by Dr. Gene Getz. The first ever multimedia study Bible with QR codes enabling you to view 1,500 videos. Watch on your smartphone, tablet, or computer with Gene Getz teaching Principles to Live By from every book of Scripture. 250 hours of in-depth teaching. Gene Getz has over 60 years of Bible teaching and is a renowned theologian. The Life Essentials Bible is a seminary in a box. Read, watch, apply. Get yours today for your own spiritual growth or as a gift that will minister greatly to your family and friends. Purchase your copy of the Life Essentials Study Bible at Christian bookstores or go to their website, BiblePrinciples.org. and click on Video Search, where you can access all the principles for free. Take your faith deeper. Get your Life Essentials. Study Bible today at Christian bookstores or BiblePrinciples.org.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America. You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on the Dove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs. Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching. Watch Real Life with Jack Hibbs Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. Always an honor when we have time to sit down with Representative Cliff Bentz. He represents Congressional District Number 2 in the state of Oregon, one of the largest districts in the entire United States, and most of it right now is burning. So we talked about that, and thank you, Congressman, for your time. Appreciate it much. One thing that has popped up, I think Lapine was the last of data centers. They want to come in and do things. Requires a lot of water and a lot of electricity, and one of the big selling points is, oh, you're going to employ all these people. Well, then when it's done, there's not a whole lot of people employed. What's your take?
Well, I think the folks running the data centers have done a really, really poor job from the public relations standpoint. I think they've also done a really poor job of sharing with people what's going on inside data centers. And what I've found equally disturbing and amusing is that without data centers, your cell phone would become a square pocket watch. That's what it would be good for. You could try to take pictures, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to send them anywhere. It would be a calculator still, but it wouldn't get you any of the outside information that everyone's come to rely upon. The data centers have become, I tried to get a percentage of how much of our total economy is dependent upon data centers. Well, the answer is almost all of it. And particularly when it comes to water systems, power systems, every type of educational system, it's all in one way or another being funneled in through these data centers.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So when it comes to their impact, it is enormous. It's enormous in right now, the big impact it's having. Of course, people talk about electricity, but what they should be talking about is the cost of money. Because right now, data centers, the CapEx program is I think they're talking $10 trillion that the data centers are trying to borrow to build out. $10 trillion. Well, we've already borrowed, somebody's borrowed $40 trillion. That would be the government. We've borrowed $40 trillion. And so the source of funding for this probably one of the most important things we're going to see in our lifetime, artificial intelligence, is driving up the cost of money. And you can look right now as you see the so-called crash in the bond market.
I hear you.
Now, we're not going to stop this. It's going to happen.
Right.
I'm very happy to be on one of the committees that has a great deal to say about artificial intelligence. That's one of the reasons I fought so hard to get on energy and commerce. And so we have been having hearing after hearing after hearing, trying to figure out where government fits, because this is one of the most important things in our history. Yeah. And I don't blame people. I do not blame people in La Pine for flailing out at it. My sister illustrated this quite well, my older sister. She said, I'm scared of AI. I don't know what it's going to do. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a common fear, and I think it's founded in the fact that we're not sure where this is taking us. But we can't ignore it. I tell you, that the other countries are not.
We're using it here.
Yes, and the fact of the matter is, it works. And that's why you see these companies investing $10 trillion in it.
Yeah. Okay, a couple other quick questions. The international stuff, how would you gauge how the president's handling Iran these days? What's your take?
Well, he has an incredibly
We now have the Straits of the United States. Last night, it became a U.S. territory, rhetorically. I don't know where this... I mean, you talk about throwing a grenade in the campfire. He did it last night.
Okay, I must say the president tends to overstate many things, and declaring the Strait a territory is one of those overstatements. But the initial thought that caused him to attack Iran was correct. They had 800 pounds of 60% enriched uranium on hand, still do, and that could have been made into between 7 and 11 warheads. It would have taken them about 2 weeks to move that to weapon grade material. 2 weeks. For all we know, they already did, but then it would have taken, they thought at that time, about a year to develop the missiles necessary to reach Europe. In fact, they already have those missiles. They'd been lying about that, among many other things. So his thought in saying we cannot allow fanatics that run this Iranian nation the opportunity to blow us up, as they say they want to do, kill Americans, so destroy Americans. So he did the right thing. The challenge now is how how do we resolve this, what has been a pending situation for many, many years.
Right.
But push did come to shove. He called the question, and now the question is, how do we unwind this? I believe he's on the right track. I think preventing ships going in and out is probably where to
right. I know you're on a tight schedule, so am I. Let me ask you quickly, going into the midterm, the election cycle, I've been tracking a little bit how congressional committees are raising money. How does it look for the Republicans? Are you going to hold the House?
I think we are. I based that on Mike Johnson having visited Oregon just 3 weeks ago at my request.
Was that 37 races are in play? Is that what it is?
I think the Cook Political Report, I think, puts it at less, but the number for a long time was about 18 races out of 435.
Okay.
18.
All right.
And I think it's still somewhere in that neighborhood. The Republican committees for the House have raised far more money than the Democrats.
Right.
And that's because of the fear of socialism and the fear of if the Democrats took over, it would be by a narrow margin.
Yeah.
And we would then see an outsized socialistic influence on the Democrats.
Because the DNC is not only not raising money, they got debt. The RNC's got cash.
It does.
And hopefully that spills over into some House races.
It will.
Okay, so it looks good.
Well, when it comes to money, it certainly looks good. The leanings, we have to do a better job of pointing out that in the great big beautiful bill, we actually helped affordability by preventing people's taxes from going up 10 to 15 to 20%. And so we've got to show people that we've taken steps already to help protect against higher prices.
Do you think most Americans are putting up with the gas prices? And if so, how long?
Well, gas prices go up and gas prices go down, and I think a lot of folks have become somewhat accustomed to it, not happily. Nobody likes paying $4 a gallon. I do want to call out the fact that about 50 cents of what we pay here in Oregon is driven by Salem.
Right.
And if Salem wanted to, it could instantly declare a holiday and reduce the price of fuel by 50 cents a gallon. It could do this. My numbers may be off a little bit, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah. Well, I've been calling on people to do that. I know you got to go. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. Glad to see you in the district. Tough year, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, we will. Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity.
All right. We'll see you next time.
The Dove, encouraging and informative on television, radio, online, and streaming.
Wake up to what's going on with Mornings on the Dove, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m.
For in-depth conversation of world, national happenings, and events affecting faith, watch Focus Today, weekday mornings.
The Dove TV covers Oregon, from stations in Albany, Bend, Dallas, Medford, Portland, Salem, and Tillamook.
Watch the Dove.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Orthodox Christianity has existed for 2,000 years. Yet many people know very little about its history, its worship, or the ancient Christian faith it preserves. Hi, I'm Paulina Leiser. Join me each week as we explore the beauty and depth of this historic Christian tradition and its place in the modern world.
Don't miss The Ancient Church, conversations about Orthodox Christianity, Sundays at 6 p.m. on the Dove TV.
We love staying connected with you, our amazing Dove partners. That's why we created the Studio Insider, your complimentary magazine packed with everything happening at the Dove. See how your support is changing lives, check out our TV and radio schedules, meet our team in the staff spotlight, enjoy faith-filled reflections, a fun crossword puzzle, and so much more. It's your inside look at the Dove.
Unchanging truth in an ever-changing world. Turning Point with Dr. David Jeremiah. Wednesdays on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
The Dove, encouraging and informative on television, radio, online, and streaming.
Wake up to what's going on with Mornings on the Dove, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m.
For in-depth conversation of world, national happenings, and events affecting faith, watch Focus Today, weekday mornings.
The Dove TV covers Oregon, from stations in Albany, Bend, Dallas, Medford, Portland, Salem, and Tillamook.
Watch The Dove on Apple TV, Roku TV, and the Fire TV app. Download from the App Store and Google Play.
Women. Discover God's purpose for every season of your life with Melinda Robertson on Season to Shine, afternoons at 4.
Be inspired by God using people and ministries on the move with Ryan Robertson, Tuesday and Thursdays at 4.
Watch, listen, and stream The Dove anywhere around the world with theDove.us, your online connection to the Dove.
Watch The Dove in Central California over these Dove network stations and cable outlets in Fresno, Visalia, Bakersfield, and Tulare.
The beauty and depth of the ancient Orthodox Church and its place in the modern world. Sundays at 6 on the Dove TV.
Bring powerful, God-centered content with you anywhere you go with the Dove app. Download at theDove.us.
Tell your friends and family. In Idaho, you can see the Dove TV in the Gem State over KTVJ Channel 3, a Dove TV affiliate in Boise.
Listen to Bible teaching, music, and information over these Dove radio stations in Southern and Central Oregon and Northern California.
Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
There will only be one winner of the Freedom 250, and how fitting that it's Kyle Kirkwood. As the Secretary of Transportation waves the checkered flag, Kyle Kirkwood wins an American on the top step of the podium at the Freedom 250.
Well, there you go. Kyle Kirkwood is now the winner of the, what they call the Freedom 250 Grand Prix in Washington, D.C. One of the first over the weekend through the streets.